On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, the guys may finally not drone on for 3 hours because the Star Wars news scene has been rather dull this past week. But fear not, there's plenty for them to ramble on, including the fan vote for the next Black Series archive release, as well as a sexy new Maul statue to check out. They'll also riff on yet another Mandalorian Season 2 casting rumor, as well as 2 new castings for the Cassian Andor series. They may even pay tribute to Revenge of the Sith, which turns 15 this year. Nick has a new question of the week to go over too, as they also talk about the Tournament of Force User Death, all before wrapping the show with the top 5+1 Star Wars fan artist features of the week. Cue the music. Everybody, welcome back to a brand new and live version of the Star Wars Time Show. Looks like we already got some of the assholes in the chat. We got Devin, we got Liam, we got SWTS Wild Wing. Welcome, friends, to another edition of this live train wreck. We're here and we're ready to talk Star Wars, but as you might have heard from the sexy announcer there, or whenever you joined in, there's not a ton of news to talk about, so we've got some interesting things to dive into. We may celebrate Revenge of the Sith a little bit, because today, right now, May the 19th marks the 15th year anniversary of the ROTS. So Nick and I will kind of talk about maybe what we were doing that day. Do we remember our first screening? And do we still have some grievances or some love for the film? So, hey, Tones, what up? Welcome to episode 111 of the Star Wars Time Show. All right, man, it looks like the live stream is up and running. We're getting some warnings, but that's how we roll.
Yeah,
here
we always work with warnings.
Of course, so. Yes. Nothing is ever perfect here. It looks like our bit rate is a little funky, but who cares? All right, dude. So let's just go ahead and get into our topic. We'll do all the fan stuff later on in the show. Nick's got another question for you. He's going to give you an update on the Battle of the Force User Death Pyramid that he set up. Many of you are angry at him, calling him names, but you know, look, Nick, you try to explain it. Typically in sports, the best usually goes against the weakest in the first round. So
exactly. So like if you watch March Madness, or if you watch any sort of bracket based sports event, your first round is always, you're going to have 1 versus 16. You're going to have 2 versus 15. So like, yes, I get it that it sucks that, you know, people, you know, that you like are losing to these more powerful, you know, force users or these bad matchups, but that's how it works, man. And, you know, I went through and I did the seeding myself, and I have to say that I abide by the seeding that I put out there. You know, the 5 versus 12 matchup, for all of you who are like, oh, well, the strongest one's just going to win. I'm going to give you a spoiler right now. Darth Bane was the 5 seed, Maul was the 12 seed, and Darth Bane lost pretty hard. Ooh. So it's not always going to pan out to where the higher seed is going to be the victorious one. It's up to you people. It's up to the people in the chat box. It's up to the people on Instagram to vote on who they want to win.
Vote with a lot of stuff. Don't just vote on our stupid polls. There's a lot of voting you should be doing this November too.
True.
But
so
we vote for. We give you cool things to vote for, not shitty stuff like politics. But hey, everything has politics. Even Star Wars has politics. Yeah. But we're not here to talk about politics today. We're here to talk about another form of voting, right, Nick? You put this out a little late last week here. And that is the Hasbro Pulse Fan Vote 2020. It's down to the final 10. You know, we're not big enough to kind of host the pre-votes to get to the final 10, right, Nick? Our penises are still kind of tiny in the Star Wars fan site community, but we're getting there. I actually did get asked by Star Wars Black Series, the big account, to take some pictures for him. He was trying to do something with Hondo. I think he wanted Hondo to get on this list, but I felt honored to get asked by the largest Black Series feature account on IG, but more on that later. I got some great IG stuff for you this week, my friends, courtesy of the 1 6-pack. Thank you, you drunks. We love you guys. Seriously, you've rocketed yourselves up to our favorite non-Star Wars podcast of all time. But anyways, my friend, Hasbro's asking for us to vote on its final 10 characters that is going to re-release one of them in its archive line in 2021 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And amongst the 10, all these have been released before. It's not like any of these are going to be new characters. Typically, what Hasbro's been doing with this archive collection is taking some of the older Black Series figures, the ones that were released before the photoreal technology, and actually giving them faces that look like the people they're supposed to represent. Because I can tell you right now, Jyn Erso, Obi-Wan Kenobi from ROTS, I mean, they look like they're special versions of themselves. I mean, we're talking derpy as fuck. Derpy Wan Kenobi. They don't look good. So what Hasbro's saying is like, all right, we understand these look pretty bad. We have this new photoreal paint technology. Which one of these old ones do you want to, from the archives, do you want us to break out, give it some 2020, 2021 polish so you can have a figure that does not look like it had way too much to drink one night. So yeah, I've been out there voting. You have to be a member of Hasbro Pulse to vote. You get to vote every 24 hours. What does it last through? Like the 20th?
The 29th.
The 29th.
May 29th. Yeah. So you still have like 10 days at the time of this recording, this live stream, to vote. So get on there and cast your votes. And Matt, I believe you have a particular one that you have favorited that you want to win this vote.
And it's funny. Like, I never knew the name for this figure, and it makes the figure even better. But I'm talking about Slave Leia. I mean, that's what we've always called her, Slave Leia. But what she is called, at least in the vote, is the Hutt Slayer.
Yes, Hutt Slayer, Princess Leia Organa. I mean, I like that name. It is good.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the Hutt Slayer. So, yes, I've thrown a few votes towards sexy Princess Leia because I am a creep. Let's be real. I was 3 when Return of the Jedi came out, and I've basically been popping wood over that costume ever since then, right? I mean, there's not a male Star Wars fan out there, unless they're gay, which is completely fine, that probably doesn't have a kind of whack bank memory of Princess Leia in her bikini, right?
I mean, it is a pretty standard thing for all of the the heterosexual male Star Wars fans. And I mean, that's, I first saw ROTS when I was, not ROTS, Return of the Jedi when I was 10, I believe, because that's when I saw all 3 of the original trilogy. So,
oh yeah, you were probably actively masturbating at that point in time too.
Yeah, very, very close to it, if not. So it's definitely a memory to keep in the, in the back of the mind there. So the other figures that are up here, the rest of the 10, you have Qui-Gon Jinn Tpm. Obviously, there's no other Qui-Gon Jinn.
He needs it too, because he was only released recently, but his face is still jacked.
Jacked up. And then you have 501st Clone Trooper from ROTS.
See, those, I'll be honest, Nick, Cody and the Troopers, it's like, how much can you honestly improve upon them unless you give them different paint jobs? Because
that's what I was going to say.
Django, the same way. I mean, Bausch Leia.
Even Bausch, yeah.
I mean, they could improve the face underneath the mask. There's no doubt about that. But Greedo's another one. It's like, how much can you do? Yeah. Jyn Erso seems to be the one, at least on our post, that got the most, support. Because the Jin's figure, again, it looks like vomit. I mean, it looks like Jyn went to Tatooine, went to the bar, and just sat there and drank all day, and then stumbled out and took a picture. So even Django, it's another one. Outside of his bare Tamara Morrison face, how much can you really improve? So if you do belong to Hasbro Pulse, again, you can vote on these. One vote every 24 hours. You can pick a bunch of different ones. So I guess they can't say slave anymore because of PC stuff. It is what it is. She'll always be Slave Leia to me, but I do like the new Hutt Slayer moniker. I think
title.
I think that's pretty dope. Right?
Because she gets the kill on Jabba.
Yeah, I mean, look, she chokes his ass to death, like straight up assassin style. So she is the Hutt Slayer. But we got Greggy Boy's in here, and today is Greg's, I believe, his 40th birthday. So he's up probably about 3 a.m., 4 a.m. down there in the land down under time to join us for his birthday. So happy birthday, buddy. We love you.
Happy birthday, Greg.
Don't burn your house down. Don't burn your new mask. And please don't burn your little kid. All right.
Yeah. Greg was showing off his Boba Fett helmet to me on Facebook, and it looks nice. It looks
nice. Did he keep his pants on for this one?
I think he did. Okay, I think there were pants in this shot. So
you'll never beat the Greg share where he literally sent us shots of naked girls wearing Star Wars helmets.
Yeah,
and they were fine-looking Star Wars fans. There's no doubt about it. But I'm with you, Greg, and anyone else. I don't know why. I mean, they should release 4 of these because we've had, I think, 2 versions of the archive releases at this point in time. And every year they do 4 figures per the archive. The most recent one would have been Anakin from Revenge of the Sith. He looked horrible. He still doesn't look great, but maybe some of these will leak into the 2021 archive collection. But just knowing how our little fans have voted, I have a feeling Jinn could be the winner.
Jinn could be up there. I mean, she is one of the newer characters. She is probably the most loved of the new characters. Let's be real. It seems like out of all of the new Star Wars stuff, Rogue One is the most appreciated.
Hands down.
So it makes sense. I would honestly expect, there's a lot of Kenobi figures out there and other lines, so I wouldn't expect Rots Kenobi to get too much love just because there's a lot of other options for him. Maybe Qui-Gon. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen. You don't see a lot of Qui-Gon Jinn out there in terms of at least what I see on our. Well,
I would say the most recent Jinn is about 2 to 3 years old at this point, and he looks goofy. I mean, it's just a figure now. I mean, they released TPM Obi-Wan, I think, last year. Looks great. But if you pair him with the Qui-Gon, you're like, okay, what the hell happened to Qui-Gon's face? Did he get a fight with a Jawa or something, or what? Why does Obi-Wan look sober and Qui-Gon looks, again, like he had a crazy bender on some blue milk? You never know. But, hey, we're getting there. You can vote. I have a feeling the pervs like myself may reign supreme with the Hutt Slayer. You never know. That's why you got to vote. So get out there and vote on your Hasbro Pulse Fan Vote 2020. Of course, we would not provide the link. We have the link for you to vote.
It's down there. You can follow the link at the bottom of the post. So there we go.
All right. Well, Nick, I was kind of proud of Nick this week. He dug up a new toy post all by himself. Again, he is not the collector here. Yeah. So he's just kind of getting in. We've all kind of started to infect him with the collecting bug because he's the one that came across this new Mythos Maul from Sideshow. I guess they're still calling him Darth Maul.
They are, yep.
And it is their Mythos line, but unfortunately, it is not a figure. It does look like a statue, but a very, very menacing and, dare I say, pretty statue. Because I love this guy now, right? We've already decided that Matt has moved Maul to his second favorite Star Wars character of all time list.
Oh yeah,
and this statue definitely honors some of those reasons why I put him up there.
Oh yeah, I mean you get to see Maul at his most fierce, and Sideshow even went the extra mile, gave you an extra head sculpt that looks even more crazy with the long Zabraki horns on his head.
Oh yeah, look at that.
The look on his face is crazy, and he's even whipping his robot legs that he picked up in Clone Wars. I mean overall this thing looks, I mean, you would expect out of the Mythos lines from Sideshow for it to look incredible, and the shots that came from this reveal do look that.
He looks
like
great.
Matt said, it's only a statue, so you're not going to be able to pose it too much. It just comes on the stand where it looks like he's jumping off of another statue of Palpatine's head and crushing it at the bottom.
Oh yeah, look at that. I got that pulled up now on the stream. I'll tell you what, dude. Do you remember how big this was rated in inches? I mean, is this like a huge piece? Is this something you could sit on a desk, or is this something that has to go on a floor? Because my biggest collectible to date is the Hulk Maquette from the first Avengers. It's $650, and it's, I'm short, but it probably comes up over my knees. I mean, it is massive.
It doesn't say on there if you go to it's not open for pre-orders yet. you can sign up for the RSVP list to get, notified when it comes up, but it doesn't have a size listed on it. So it just says, here's the Mythos Maul statue available for pre-orders soon. There's no specs on it though on the Sideshow website. So
I don't typically go for statues these days, but honestly, the way I pose is very statuesque. So I might as well just get shit that's already formed in awesome poses and kind of take that piece out of my toy photography struggle. Just remove it off the board, right?
Yeah, and then you can worry about the good angles.
Yeah, exactly. Just lighting and angles. I don't have to worry about posing their stupid ass arms and legs anymore. But
yeah,
no, he looks great. And if I wasn't into the toy stuff and just space, that is the one problem with statue collecting. Is because they are pre-posed and they don't move. They are straight up. That's how much space they're going to take up. It's not like I could get my Hot Toys and fold their arms closer to their sides and stack a few within one of my glass cases. These ones require room, dusting, all that fun stuff, but a damn fine piece, and one that I hope maybe you start wasting your money on. So I'm not the only one on this show just blowing thousands of dollars on Star Wars shit every year.
We'll see how much it costs, because it does. It looks fucking great, but I expect this thing to cost a pretty penny, especially if it is a larger size statue.
Yeah. If this thing is at least a 1.5 to 2 feet, I bet it's $300 to $400 easy.
Ooh, I don't know if I can drop that kind of money on
man. That base where he is kind of force leaping and breaking a Palpatine statue is. I know that's the tits right there. I mean, that is just a great touch by the artist. So
yeah, it's a well thought out, well done sculpt. Like, just the whole statue overall. The second head sculpt is nuts with those horns and that base. I mean, it's great. And even little details like him whipping the modified dual saber that he had in Clone Wars, the legs, everything about this is just really thought out.
It looks great. So I'll let you buy that one, because I've got about $2,000 in Baby Yoda merch still to come through the doors here. So I'll leave the statue to you, but looks great. We've got a link to the RSVP. He's one of those that he may be up, he may not. You never know. Yeah. It's not like we're going to tell you. All right. So that's really it in terms of the new toys, collectibles, video game, this, that, and the other thing type of segment we like to lead with. So we're going to move on into this week's rumored castings. And no, we're not on the Mando castings yet, even though it seems every week someone new is joining the cast of Mandalorian Season 2. At this point, I don't even know if we need Din Djarin himself, right? I mean, it's just right? Everyone else is going to be in the fucking movie or the TV show, so why include the titular character? Before we get to Mando, Nick, this may be a no shit Sherlock. This is one of those where it comes from, I think, Bespin Bulletin. They've had some acclaim on IG. I think they mostly just use repurpose MSW stuff. But now that MSW has been banned from Reddit for being a pedophile creep or whatever. It looks like Bespin Bulletin has kind of filled that black hole over there. But they're kind of throwing out some things here. And this, again, it's like, why don't you and I just start doing this? And maybe we could be the next Nick and Matt Outlaw, two assholes that like somehow get credit for just throwing out shit and hoping it sticks.
For just guessing on random stuff.
Right. But they're saying here that on good word here, and I preface this, my friends, those of you that are watching, with a grain of salt. Again, if it's not coming from Lucasfilm, I don't care if it's coming from us. No, if it comes from us, then it's legit. True. It's legit. Anywhere else, you always got to be a little suspicious. But Bespin Bulletin's claiming here that Jimmy Smits and Alistair Petrie, however you want to say it, who played Bail and General Draven respectively in Rogue One, will be joining the Cassian Andor series on Disney Plus, reprising their roles. And it's kind of like, well, yeah, I mean, that makes complete sense. I know we've heard some things where we may get flashbacks or get a young Cassian to kind of show, and I just rewatched Rogue One. He does talk about how he essentially has been on his own ever since he was a kid, rebelling, this, that, and the other thing. So it sounds like they're going to give us some of that. But to me, Nick, it would make sense that a character like Bail, or even more so General Draven, who was working with Cassian in the rebellion, would show up in Andor.
Yeah, I mean, Bale is a very obvious one, just because, I mean, he's been through, the prequel trilogy. We even see him for a bit in the original trilogy. Obviously, it's not Jimmy Smits playing him. And then we see him in Rogue One again. Like, he makes that cameo in Rogue One, so we know he's around there in the timeline. We know that he plays an integral part of the rebellion, in the formation of the rebellion in general. So him being there is a no-brainer. Jimmy Smits isn't, I'm not like, he's a great actor, but he isn't, actively doing too much. I know that he was in Law and Order at some point.
He just, I mean, it was before, I don't know if it was right before the lockdown, but he did drop another kind of law-ish show with a female actress. So who knows?
Yeah. NYPD Blue was the one that he was big in, but yeah, like he's, How to Get Away with Murder. He's in that show, and then Bluff City Law.
I mean, he was in Sons of Anarchy. I love Jimmy Smits.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
all about it.
Been in a lot of stuff.
Honestly, he was one of the better actors in the prequels, if you think about it. I mean, the few scenes he got, I mean, he brought that very kingly, if you will, kind of mantra to the role of Bail Organa. So.
Yeah, I mean, like, even at the end when he kind of lands at the Jedi Temple and he sees the purge going on, sees the youngling.
Yeah,
sees George Lucas's kid cut down.
You got to get George's kid Jet in there and get his straight up cameo as I think Jet the Jedi or something crazy like that.
Yeah, would not surprise me if they just kept his name.
that is another. Just it's you look at that scene, you just go, okay.
Yeah.
All right. That kid was fighting a green screen for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like okay, yeah. I mean, I think the general role probably makes. I'm almost gonna say that's like a slam dunk casting because Mon Mothma's in it. This guy was clearly one of the top generals in the rebellion during Rogue One. So you would think that if we're gonna see Cassian's time with the rebellion earlier than what we got with Rogue One, these two would probably be crossing paths. Or he was the one giving Cassian missions, right? He was the one telling Cassian kind of on the down low, hey, take out Galen if you can.
Yeah, exactly.
This, that, and the other thing. So
the bounty, not necessarily the bounty, but the hit out on Galen's head when they were going to, check out that Imperial installation. So, I mean, these castings make complete and total sense. This is from a source that Bespin Bulletin has, so no word from either Lucasfilm or Disney yet on this. No word from Deborah Chow, who is actually, no, she's not the showrunner. This is Tony Gilroy, our buddy Gilroy.
King of Star Wars.
Yeah. So no word from him either yet on this casting, but it's a no-brainer kind of casting for these two characters in this series. So
yeah, they went the peanut gallery. They want to see Dantooine and Cassian. Like they want to go to the Dantooine base.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that would kind of fit in because Leia does mention that was an older base.
And we did. I don't know. Like I know there's probably not many Resistance fans in here, but in the last season of Resistance, we got a great Easter egg of the Dantooine base, this, that, and the other thing. So
yeah.
I agree with you there, Tones. I would like to see that. And I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking about this more and more, and I really think I do want to see Bail Organa in it. I want to see him doing more rebellion stuff as a senator still, because at this timeline, he's still a senator and still actively a figurehead within the rebellion. I mean, he's one of the original, what do they call them? The original 6, original 4.
Yeah,
it was a cutscene from Rots, which is weird because it's one of the better scenes from Revenge of the Sith, where it's Padme, Bail, Mon, and a few other systems essentially sitting down and saying, "Hey, shit's getting fucked up with this guy. We need to commit to each other that we're gonna try to rebel." I mean, without saying it, but essentially they formed the rebellion during Revenge of the Sith. So I would like to see more of that type of Organa in Cassian. So I'm down with both of these. Are they going to happen? Who knows? I think the general is way more likely just because it makes narrative sense for the series, but there's no reason that they couldn't get Bail in there either. Yeah,
100%. So keep an eye out. We'll keep an eye out as well for any official word from the powers that be for the Cassian Andor series, but it does make sense. It is probably gonna come to be true that this will happen, but until we get official word, keep it as a rumor in your books about this. These two castings of General Draven and Bail Organa. So
yeah, amen.
Yeah.
Before we move on, I forgot. I want to do a little show and tell. And if you are listening to the audio only version, I'm sorry, I'll make this quick, or you can just fire it up on YouTube when you're ready. But I just got another shipment of new Baby Yoda merch last night. I plan to do some very basic pictures and share either on @HeywoodPop or @StarWarsTimeShow after the show here, because Nick, these days I get way more likes on smartphone pics than actual DSLR edited pics. So, hey, if that's what you want, IG, let's do it, right?
We can give you that content.
I got the 11 Pro Max. Here we go. Just going to start doing it. But, all right, first up, real quick here. This is the 6-inch Black Series Baby Yoda. Not too bad. Very limited articulation in arms again. There's no way you're getting a soup cup hold. But it's pretty nice for a 6-inch all plastic figure. Obviously, with the black and white, you're not going to tell, so who gives a shit? Not sure picture wise how good this one's going to be just because of the scale. But we'll see. I'll try it out. Might do a little shoe polish wash on them to dirty them up. Next up, this is the Hasbro talking plush. I don't know if you can hear that.
I can hear that for sure.
Okay. I mean, I literally think it's just a little baby cooing. Like, they didn't use any of the sounds from the child from the show.
No, I don't think that doesn't necessarily sound like Baby Yoda. I mean, he doesn't make a lot of sounds. It's very limited.
You
in
know
terms
what,
of
Nick?
sounds.
We just did a rewatch. We finished it last night. If you just focus on the baby, that fucker makes a lot more noises than we thought the first time through.
The only time that I can really remember him making noise is, like, obviously he's making noise during the run through with IG-11 on the speeder. He makes some noises when he's in the bag in episode 8 as well.
I'm telling you, just pay attention to the little guy. Even when he might not even be the focus of a scene, he's probably reacting with some sort of ooh, like that. It's kind of odd. So this thing here, the Hasbro guy, it's little. Like, it's much smaller than the other plush, and it talks, and the eyes are painted. They're not that glossy glass like the other ones. So my recommendation here, if you got like a really, really little kid, like a baby, and they like squeezing stuff, or a dog that likes to chew on shit that makes noises,
perfect dog
maybe
toy.
Go with that one. The 6-inch Black Series, I don't know. I mean, I think it's just going to be a nice display piece over photography, but I do think he will take a nice shot. The only other deal I got, and Nick, I'm going to go ahead and tell you to cancel these if you still have them on pre-order, but I got the other two set of they're like these Hasbro chibi style child figures.
I remember you posting some pictures of those, and you were like, I'm glad I only ordered one set.
Apparently I ordered 2 sets because these came in, and I don't know, they look cute. I think I'm going to end up giving them to my 4-year-old daughter just because.
It's more appropriate for the children in the chat.
Exactly.
You know? So if you have any kids, maybe those are the figures that you go with for them.
Oh, what? Baron, you didn't believe us on MSW being a creep bag? Well, there you go. It's all documented. I mean, there's like in any Star Wars fandom circle, he's essentially been blackballed the last time I looked. So
he's dead to most of the Star Wars crew.
Be careful who you follow out there. You know, I'm only slightly creepy. Nick's even less creepier than me. I just do weird shit like sit around with my thumb up my butt and then smell it. So
we're not creepy to other people, but apparently he was MSW himself did
some weird shit on IG. Yeah. Moral of the story is, my friends, don't use fucking social media if you are a bozo.
Yeah. All also, if you're even remotely in the public eye, like, just don't do anything. Just fucking stay off of it.
I mean, I'm an asshole for live streaming myself working in a public type of job that I do. I mean, luckily I haven't said anything too fucking dumb yet. But
it's only a matter of time until your students dig up something that you said in the past, and then they're
I know.
Fucking fire him! Yeah. Get him out of here!
Look at him. He said he sticks his thumb up his ass and smells it.
That's not appropriate of a college professor.
Oh, what up? Work more or less. Join the room. What up, Jason? How's it going,
Jason.
buddy? We're just talking about sticking thumbs up butts and smelling it. You never know what you're going to get on the Star Wars Time show.
Yeah, I know. What an interesting time to join.
Yeah, he did a live stream, I think last week on IG with SWTS. And, and they're asking for questions. And I said, do you guys like the Star Wars Time show? I can't help it, my friends. No, I am SWTS all the time at this point in time. I mean, I am 100% Star Wars Time show. I've given up on Haywood Pop. That account is dead. That's going nowhere. I've slowed posting down so much. I don't even know if I can call myself a toy photographer at this point in time.
Maybe you do need just like a break though.
It's been nice,
breaking
dude.
Your mental. Yeah. Pretty hard.
It's been nice. It's been nice. I mean, there was a clip. I was doing 2 shots a day. 2 shots a day. I mean, I think I've posted something like 3,000 or 4,000 shots on Haywood Pop, and it just like it's slow. It did great at the end of 2019. Awesome beginning of 2020, and then I am just in the IG jail of all jails at this point in time. So I'm like, hey, fuck it. Who cares?
I think it's like it may be like a time thing. It's like you get 4 or 5 months or 3-4 months of good stuff, then you get 5 months of nothing, and then you get it kind of comes and goes.
But it's like I said, these days, and this comes from my talk with Dagobah Days or Customs. I've just thrown up some smartphone pics of new toys, and they're doing like 500 likes.
Hey,
like,
if that's what people want to see, if that's the content,
it's hilarious. But I was justified by the almighty Tom, Saint Tom is what I'm going to call him now, Ayabuatu. And don't worry, I'll be playing that because what they said about the show and my photography on the 1/6 pack, it made my day, gave me some juice to keep doing this dumb shit. Because as we've said in the past, we're not here to get rich. We're here to know that other Star Wars assholes think that our Star Wars knowledge and the way we deliver it is entertaining, informative, and something that they're willing to waste their life on. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I need to know.
All we want to know is that we make your day a little bit better. And hey, maybe you learn something too listening to us. We're not complete buffoons over here. We actually have some Star Wars knowledge.
Don't worry. I've got the testimony recorded. I mean, I almost feel like we should use the 1/6 packs praising of the show as our new bumper and the close. Like we just play it twice per episode.
Yeah, no, just to give us some legitimacy, like the music sounds cool, yes.
No,
but if we have legitimate people out there saying that we're not idiots, then that also helps our credibility. And we all
love them. And we're talking about Trevor 1/6 shooter. We're talking about Tom Ibutu and then TJ Capes and Rifles. You could tell. I don't think TJ was quite indoctrinated to the SWTS like those
TJ
two.
Was completely. He was just like looking around.
He's like, what the
whatever.
Fuck are these idiots talking about? All right, but okay. There's your tease for that. It's coming up. I had to save the segment. We will listen to it as a family. As I'm seeing the comments in here, it's turned into a Matt self-help group.
Self-help group.
There you go. Yeah, they're all like, "Don't worry, man. Just take a break. You'll come back stronger than ever."
I'm surprised there's been no comments about my little cat here. I don't know if you can see her on the feed though, but she's just sitting on the desk.
I saw some tails waggling, but the way I have it cropped, we can't see her. And I'm glad that we haven't talked about this yet, but over the past week, my family had 2 stray, somewhat older kittens adopt us. Yes, they adopted us. They just showed up in our backyard. I'm a sucker for little animals. I like animals more than people. So much so that I was like, you know what? I can't consciously let these things sit outside and die. I can't call them up to get scooped up and killed in a shelter. So my little girl convinced me to let's bring them in the house. And here we go.
You have 2 foundlings. Your clan has now increased.
That's right. We are now a clan of 5.
Yes.
And my mission is to find a space wizard for these 2 asshole cats that showed up. They were going to be Luke and Leia, but that didn't last. It's Leia and Stripes.
Leia and Stripes.
I wanted like my one buddy. He's like, "Oh, dude, you should have done Mando and Baby Yoda or Rey and Kylo." I was like, "Yeah, they all sound fantastic, but these are my kids' cats. My cat Pete died in October. I'm still not over that. I'm never going to invest emotions into an animal like I did with that guy. So I just move it on to the kids. So they're her cats. Hopefully they don't come running through here because they get pretty amped up when they start chasing each other. All right, man, that was a money Star Wars time show tangent. Like that's our bread and butter right there. So let's kind of skip on over to our other news story, and we actually got some more juice to add to this right before we went live. And I think we posted this a day or two ago because that's how we roll. Mm-hmm. You know, we're doing this shit on the fucking weekends. You know what I'm talking about? So we've got more casting news. And again, nothing is official, even though all these sites are calling it exclusive and this and that and the other thing. But the latest actor, at least, we don't know character, or do we?
Maybe. Question mark.
Maybe ever hear of a guy named Cobb Vanth. But the latest actor that is now being tagged to joining The Mandalorian Season 2 is none other than Timothy Olyphant. I didn't really know who he was until I saw the picture. I have seen this guy before.
Yeah, he's been around.
Justified, Deadwood. I think his most recent thing is on Netflix, right? Is the one where like they eat people or some shit?
Yeah, the Santa Clarita Diet, him and Drew Barrymore. Right. He was also the bad guy in Live Free or Die Hard, the one where like he's a hacker and he shuts down the entire U.S. electrical grid or something like that. It's the one with Justin Long, and Bruce Willis was in that one, and then Kevin Smith was in it, and this guy was the bad guy. So he's been around.
So, yeah, I mean, is he joining? Well, considering that we just got a follow-up post today from Slash Film that adds a little bit to this mystery.
A little bit of color.
There's a good chance he's joining. And Nick and I were talking about this before, and I don't know if we disagree or what, but if Timothy is going to be playing the character that Slash Film is pegging him as, I really like where they're going here. It sounds very Filoni, very kind of inside. And here we go. Here it is. Here's the exclusive from Slash Film. They are now saying that Timothy Olyphant will be wearing Boba Fett's armor in The Mandalorian Season 2, but not as Boba Fett. He will be playing, and this is a character from the book, so it's something I had to go research because we know I'm not reading a fucking book. But they are pegging him, and I love this, as playing Cobb Vanth. So real quickly, for those of you that might not be in the know, Cobb Vanth was introduced in Chuck Wendig's books, the Aftermath series. And apparently he's kind of this sheriff type of character, which, as Nick pointed out, Olyphant played a sheriff on Deadwood, right?
Yeah, like and Justified, he played a sheriff. Like that was his role. Like he played a sheriff in Justified. I'm not 100% sure on his Deadwood role, but literally he was a sheriff.
Okay, but so they're speculating here. They're going with that Olyphant wearing Boba Fett's armor will be playing this character called Cobb Vanth, who was essentially a freedom fighter, if you will. I mean, as it explained, I mean, with the fall of the Empire, the fall of Jabba, especially on Tatooine, there was a big power vacuum.
Yep.
So this Cobb Vanth character wearing Boba Fett's armor essentially became the sheriff of this town called Freetown, or a settlement called Freetown on Tatooine. And he pretty much just went around in Boba Fett's armor, kicking ass, taking names, and generally doing good things in the armor.
It's very Old West. Like the whole story around Cobb Vanth and everything that was happening in Tatooine at the time of the fall of the Empire and Jabba's death. Like it was like the Old West, and it fits perfectly within this story because we are kind of dealing in a lawless time. The main character is very Western. So if this is true, then it makes it a very interesting tie-in with the casting rumor of Tamira Morrison playing Boba Fett, maybe. Because if this is Cobb Vanth, he is wearing Boba Fett's armor, then bringing in Fett as a character who survived the Sarlacc pit and is now, hunting down this person who stole his armor, essentially.
Well, yeah, that's a very interesting angle, too. I also just like leave Fett fucking dead. Mark Hamill kind of commented on this. It was kind of funny. I think it was last week he did a video, but he's like, how the fuck is Fett alive? Like, Fett's dead. And as we talked, The Mandalorian is not the show to dedicate to the resurrection of Boba Fett. Yeah, I'm not against Boba being on the show as Boba, whatever, but I still think the character needs a slow burn, if you will, to show us, okay, how did he get out of the Sarlacc pit? If they go this way with Cobb Vanth, which technically is canon.
He is canon, yeah.
Boba Fett's armor was essentially vomited up out of the Sarlacc because it couldn't be digested, probably because it's Beskar. Jawas, being scavengers, scavenged it and sold it to Cobb Vanth. And Freetown, from what I've read, is essentially set up right where, or around where Fett's sail barges were destroyed by Luke and the other rebels. So
yeah, and it also falls perfectly in line with the stinger scene that we saw at the end of the Mandalorian episode with Fennec Shan.
Right, that's on Tatooine.
Yep. And, you know, if he is playing this sheriff type character, he doesn't necessarily have to have a link to Fennec Shan to be there. He hears a shootout happening on the edge of his town.
Yes.
And he shows up there and he's like, what the fuck's going on
100%.
here? Who's this dead person?
100%.
So
you know the best thing about this, Nick? You know the fucking best thing about this, and yes, I had to throw a fucking in front of that. When this stinger released during episode 5, when it aired last November, this guy right here, this guy, you see, I'm pointing not to Kylo Ren on my shirt, but to me. Cobb Vanth, was one of my 5 picks for who could be
look it up.
In that. All right. So it's on the site. I believe the video is saved in the sidebar still, right?
I think it's still, I think it's still there. If it's not, YouTube.com.
No, it's not. Yeah, just go to our YouTube and check out some of our playlists. In particular, I think like speculation and rants. But I did a video breakdown on, I think, 5 possible characters that this mysterious character could have been at the end of episode 5. Cobb Vanth was one of them. So, hey, maybe we're not as fucking dumb as we look. Maybe this brain does function a little bit. Maybe I do understand Star Wars narratives. But in the end, it's probably not going to happen because I did call it out last year. So there's no way it's going to happen at this point.
Yeah. But I mean, again, like with this casting rumor, exclusive, you know, THR is calling things exclusives, Slash Films calling things exclusives, whatever. But it opens up the role of Temuera Morrison even more. Yes, it would make sense for him to play Boba Fett now that we have, if Cobb Vanth is in there wearing his armor, you have an established link between those two characters, a reason for Boba Fett to be hunting him. But also, if Temuera Morrison is there, it would make more sense now if you just leave Boba Fett alone, have Cobb Vanth as the character in the armor. You now have him open and available to play Rex as a side, you know, companion to Ahsoka, to Bo-Katan.
Yeah, he could still do Boba Fett flashbacks too. I mean, if we are going to have, because I know like Slash Film and even Nick kind of set up, well, what if Fett is coming to get his armor back from this Cobb Vanth? I mean, all that would be great, but I'm still, let's leave Fett dead unless we really want to bring him back. And if that's the case, he needs his own show. You cannot revive or Jesus Boba Fett on The Mandalorian. I just... The short episode seasons, the short length of the episodes, I just don't think there's enough time to justify it for that character, even though I think the character's kind of a bozo based on how he was portrayed in the original trilogy. But as many people have expressed, both our fans and Star Wars fans in general, Boba Fett clearly has a strong following. So if you're going to bring him back, don't do it chintzy. Give him a proper resurrection. So I would much prefer this. Yeah, let's see the Fett armor because I think that'd be a fuck yeah moment. But let's not make it Fett. The Cobb Vanth angle, I'm fucking digging big time. So I'm
really like, dude, I can just already tell that people who don't hear about this prior to it happening, they see that Fett armor, they're like, fuck it, Boba Fett's back. And then they take off the helmet and it's not him and they're going to fucking lose it.
Let's burn this fucker down.
Fuck out.
We hate Kathleen Kennedy. She hates Mandalorians.
I don't know if Papa's in the chat, but Papa will fucking burn his house down because he fucking loves Boba Fett.
Right.
And if they fucking have Cobb Vanth in there whipping that Fett armor and it's not him and Boba Fett's not even in the show, Papa may literally he may fly to fucking Dave Filoni's house.
He's gonna pop an aneurysm. So I don't know. I'm going with now. I would really prefer the Cobb Vanth angle. I think it adds another layer. It's more that Filoni, Favreau, we're picking from all sorts of Star Wars mediums to create our new lore. So that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, it makes sense. It does. So I'm all for it.
Baron Black Series saying, bring him back just so he can fall in the pit again. That's fine, because that would be movie Boba Fett. That would be canon Boba Fett. Canon Boba Fett is a fucking clown, people.
Yeah, he's got a dope ass ship, but he never really lived up to that huge reputation that he had.
What's that, Nick? What the hell's his name? It's like it's a very famous music you play during a comedy routine. I think the guy's name was like Benny something. Benny Hill. That music should be playing during Return of the Jedi when Boba Fett leaps off to go fight Luke and Han. Like that's what that scene looks like to me. Right?
It is. It's just like,
dude, right here, it's like, oh, hey, he just popped his rocket, and there he goes. It's like it's a fucking comedy routine.
Yeah. It's like he had such a badass entrance because like, oh my god, this guy's got a fucking jetpack. He just lands on the ship and then literally
loses his gun. His gun gets chopped in half immediately.
And then, boom, he's gone.
And then he gets killed because a blind guy accidentally activates his jetpack.
Yeah, like, you would figure for the most notorious bounty hunter in the galaxy, you could last more than 13 seconds versus a distracted Jedi and a blind guy. That's Boba Fett. That's what we got. I mean, and look, I am all for giving him a comeback just like they did in Legends and allowing him to build his reputation back up. But I mean, I agree with Matt. I don't know if Mando is the right time to do it. Like you bring him back in his own series, and I think that's the way to go. But what do I know?
Yeah, convince me he is the biggest badass bounty hunter in the world. Like, convince me. Okay, don't tell me to go read the old Legend comics and this, that, and the other thing. I'm reading the new bounty hunter comics, and yeah, he does seem like more of a badass, but those are comics. I've always framed this within the original trilogy. Boba Fett should be called Bozo Fett.
And then look, you could even bring back Daniel Logan. If you're going to do like a young Boba or like a proper aged Boba film or TV series or something like that, bring back Daniel Logan. Daniel Logan's 32 years old. Yeah. He's the perfect age to play a Boba Fett at that time period. Just let him come back and play the character again.
I think you're right. I would like to see just at the tail end, the Clone Wars, or a year or two into the Rise of the Empire, Boba Fett.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I mean, look at this shit. Like, you can tell that his career, again, was affected by Star Wars. I mean, he didn't have a huge career leading up to it, but playing young Boba Fett after that, he really didn't do too much up to the point to where Sharknado 4 comes out Logan. In 2016. Ooh. He plays a character called Captain Fett.
No.
Oh no is correct. Oh, no. That is the right.
Man, those prequels were not kind to a few of the younger actors, man.
They were not, dude. It's just,
man, like, him and Hayden should you team up and do some sort of revenge movie.
George did not know how to coach like actors, and it really fucked over some of the people who were young in their careers and probably needed like somebody to say like, here, this is the performance that I want from you. But yeah, dude, it's fucking not great for his career at this moment. He's got some other things in production, post-production now, but definitely not.
I wonder, there's no way he got enough money from doing the movie.
God, no.
I'm assuming he probably gets most of his living by doing the cons, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, he probably hits the con circuit. He's from New Zealand, so he's probably Australia, New Zealand. He probably hangs out with Greg a lot. Greg probably knows him personally. And then, he hits the cons whenever they go around. So,
yeah, because some of these guys, I don't know what he would draw. I mean, I guess he is Boba Fett.
It is Boba Fett.
I mean, some of these guys, like some of the Star Trek guys, like Takei or Shatner, I mean, they command like a $10,000 to $15,000 appearance fee, and then they'll make that just they'll charge $50 to $100 just for a signature.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's probably getting $2,000 to show, $50,000 or $50 per signature, if that, 30 maybe. I mean, he did do the voice too. He was the voice of Boba Fett in Clone Wars.
Okay, well, at least he got some of that. So, I mean, they do get residuals, but I assume they're starting to tail off at this point in time. But you never know. Like I said, my stunt guy buddy, I think last year alone, and he's done TV work, which is great because TV goes into reruns essentially, and that's
syndication,
syndication reruns. I think he said he did 120 to 150,000 just on residuals for shit that he did years ago.
Fucking Christ, dude. What the fuck did we do with our lives?
Right.
Why?
Here's the best, like just one day on set for a stuntman, if they just show up, is about $1,000. And they don't even have to do anything, like just showing up. If they light themselves on fire, it's another $1,000 on top of the $1,000.
Wow,
it's a good gig, but they definitely do not get the credit that they should. I mean, it's the one aspect of filmmaking that doesn't have a fucking Oscar category. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
how are stunts not recognized at all these award ceremonies? But
that's literally what makes all these fucking movies look cool.
Yes, I mean, don't take this as me shitting on the other departments, but I mean, there's literally Oscars for costume, makeup, sound design, this, that, and the other thing. But the fuckers that die making actors look awesome get nothing.
Yeah. Like literally people are losing limbs doing stunts, dying, doing stunts. Like that should definitely be elevated.
Like watch,
to an Oscar.
I guess we'll just kind of move into it because Nick didn't watch it. He didn't do his homework this week for SWTS, so he will definitely be caning himself after this episode. But
it's true.
Those of you who have watched episode 3 of Disney Gallery Mandalorian, it's all about characters. And while I'm on the stunt speech, there's a very quick section on the 2 stunt guys they use to bring the Mandalorian to life. And I can tell you right now, with some insider knowledge, Pedro very rarely is in that fucking armor. Okay?
That's so crazy because he is the main character.
And he even says on the episode, Nick, because I texted Stunt Buddy right away. I'm like, hey, you guys get the 2 stunt guys actually get some love. But even Pedro straight up says, he's like, yeah, I basically would watch them and then base my performance on what they did.
I mean, like for a character like that, you can do, because you never see his fucking head until the end of the show. And then all you ever hear is his voice. I mean, I'm sure, like, did he even play Mando when he's just like walking around on the ship?
Very rarely. I think the ship scenes, I believe, are mostly Pedro. Yeah. But any outdoor walking around type of stuff probably isn't.
Dude, that's the easiest fucking job ever.
Oh, it's great.
Because all he's got to do is just sit there, look at these guys, be awesome in the Mando suit, and then just talk.
And they make him look badass because the way they explained it, they have one guy is kind of the gun expert, so any gun heavy action is probably that guy. The other guy who we may or may not get on the Star Wars Time show. There's a little tease for you. Lateef.
There we go.
They describe him as kind of the ninja do-all. Like he's the one doing the flips. If you remember from episode 6 where he's sliding on the ground through robots' legs, taking out those prison droids. All that type of stuff's probably going to be Lateef. So give stunt guys some credit. And gals. Give them some money because I can tell you Pedro's making a lot more than those 2 dudes.
Just literally probably sit in an ADR booth, watch what they did and say, I think they're over there.
Yeah. Or, yeah, exactly.
Something like that. Fucking, that's it, dude. That's what ADR is.
It's a hell of a gig, man. It pays to be on the title card. Like if you're one of the stars and you're on the poster, you're living a good life. I mean, the stunt people are paid well. A lot of people are paid well in Hollywood, but not like the leads. Not even close. So
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, but Nick, speaking on this behind the scenes thing for Mandalorian, hopefully everyone is still watching it. I mean, I don't think you're really going to get spoilers from behind the scenes, but just in case, here we go. I did take some notes. Nick hasn't watched it, so we're not going to spend a ton of time on this, but episode 3 focused on the characters. And some of the things I picked up that I thought were interesting were the fact that, you know, Carl Weathers really seems to be a much more focused and professional actor than I envisioned. I guess I kind of always thought of him as his Predator character or as Apollo, you know, kind of brash and hype and in your face. But he really talks like, you know, this is a very, very serious thing to him. And he was discussing how hard it was to kind of act across someone that had no emotion to their face, right? He gave a great explanation on how an actor, like seeing the other actor's eyes is so huge, yet on The Mandalorian, acting across from The Mandalorian, it was nearly impossible. Yet,
and the thing is like his performance was so good too.
Right.
Like he killed it.
Yeah, so I thought that was a very interesting way, at least from the actor's perspective, and how they had to try to make the Mandalorian show emotion without the typical ways humans show emotion. No face muscles, no smiling, no eyes, none of that stuff. There was a great Gina hype segment where they just hyped up Carano and like how she's so perfect for this role, and how they essentially, before they even hired Gina, they were already drawing Gina as the concept art for Cara.
You could see it too, because at the end of every episode, they show you like they would run the concept art, and like it looked like Gina. So I'm sitting there, I was like, okay, did they like, usually concept art sketches happen pretty early on in the development process, like brainstorming shit. And I was like, I wonder if they had already just talked to her and she was already cast and they were drawing it. But apparently not. Apparently they were like, okay, well, Gina Carano is probably the perfect person to play this character. Who knows if we get her or not?
Yeah. So, but, I mean, she really didn't even have to audition. Favreau just had her eyed up. And really, Pedro, he mentioned, he's like, when he came in to do his thing, he's like, hey, that's Gina Carano, like in the concept art. And they're like, yeah, we're looking at her for the role. So I thought that was neat. And then the last little interesting tidbit here, and this is an Easter egg, if you will, but the character of Greef Karga was only supposed to be in episode 1 and 3. He was supposed to have been shot dead by the Mando when the Mando leaves Navarro with the baby. So other things, Greef was supposed to be an alien character. He was supposed to have all sorts of shit on his face. And, you know, Carl knew all that. And he's like, hey, that's fine. I'll walk in. I'll do my thing. But he tells a story. He's like, listen, John and Dave, I knew in my mind that I wasn't going to be wearing a mask. Like, you hired Carl Weathers, you hired the voice. Why are you going to cover me up? And that's pretty much what they said. Once he got on set, once people heard Carl delivering the lines as Greef, they're like, we can't kill this character in 2 episodes. We got to make him a main. And here we go. Yeah.
I mean, first off, like I was saying, you know, off mic, off screen to Matt before that, it's like, you don't hire yes, everybody knows Carl Weathers as Apollo Creed, but you don't hire him to come in and say, wear a mask, say these 5 lines, and then get shot.
Right.
Like, it makes no sense. Like, you have one of the most charismatic actors ever in a series. I mean, Apollo made the first 2, 3, 4 Rocky movies, even though he died in the beginning of the 4th one. Like, he made those movies. You don't bring him in to just play some bit part and then get out of there. And I'm glad that they didn't stick to their plan, and that John and Dave were able to say, like, holy shit, like, Carl came in to play a role that we had written, but made it so much more. So we're going to make sure that this character survives all the way through.
And now, I mean, really the way it ends, he is a main. I mean, it's Cara, Greef, Mando, Child. I mean, that is our group. Unfortunately, IG, Kawil, you know, rest in peace. Yeah, but they're the guys. So I thought that was a very interesting story, and that's why I'm just absolutely loving this Disney Gallery Mandalorian. I mean, I love this stuff. It frustrates me because while I'm watching, I'm going, fuck. Why didn't I make decisions in life that I am there? I'm not saying that I'm so great I would be working on The Mandalorian, but you never know when you put your mind towards something. Look, we've been doing this for like 30 years, and we've just now gotten to the point where 20 people listen to us on a regular basis. So,
there we go. It feels good to have those 20 in the chat box.
We try. We put our mind towards something, but I do. Anytime I watch behind the scenes for Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, stuff that I love, I just go, man, did I fuck up my childhood? Like, how did I not have the focus, the understanding that this is what I want to do? I want to be making movies, TV shows. I just want to be involved. I don't have to be in front of the camera. I want to be there at that table talking to people like Filoni, Favreau. Like come on.
Even now, I'm like, because Austin has a lot of film programs. Like if you live in Texas and you follow if you follow the movie scene, like Austin is a big movie city.
You guys get SXSW. I mean, that's
South by,
not by coincidence. It's down there for a reason.
Yeah, and even now, I'm like, man, maybe I should just start taking like film classes and like at night, or like, just doing some things, because it is something that I wanted. Like I enjoy doing, like Matt said, like I enjoy it. I would love to work in it in some capacity. And like the film classes aren't really that expensive. So I'm like, maybe I just take a film class every, one every year or something like that, just to like,
Well, you may not want to do it now because Hollywood is essentially dead because of the lockdown. But if my buddy ever gets back to work and I can kind of get used to maybe not having as much cash to blow on Star Wars Barbies, I may start taking my summers and just going to whatever projects he is on.
Yeah,
and just trying to get in. Just trying to get in by latching on. Like, I'll sit there and hold fire gel. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, let me do something.
It still kills me that this motherfucker decided to have a kid at a point in life where he had to turn down working on Star Wars.
I know, it was
it's unbelievable. Like this.
Why wouldn't you plan your child around
Come on, dude. Like keep your penis in your pants when it comes to working on Star Wars. Like,
what the fuck,
there is a reason this guy left Columbus, Ohio to go to California over 15 years ago. There was a reason. It was because of Star Wars, and just, he's like me, grew up loving Star Wars action. He was into all that shit. So like working on Star Wars would have been a major life goal for him. And he got the call to work on Mando S2 the week his baby was supposed to be due. So he couldn't leave.
Fucking ridiculous.
I think I'm more disappointed than he is, because I mean he got a baby out of the deal, so I'm sure he's like, okay, I guess that's okay.
Yeah, we didn't get shit.
Yeah, it's like I could have had literally one of my best friends working on a Star Wars project, feeding me everything directly. And now I just have to hear about secondhand stuff from him talking to Lateef and the stunt people that actually went out and worked on season 2.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, granted, he did get to play Thanos. I mean, this guy has done a lot of shit.
Yeah. He did some Thanos green screen. I believe he was Korg in Endgame. Like when you see Korg running across the battlefield, that's my buddy.
He played Punisher as well too.
Yeah, he's Punisher stunt double, and he was actually the full on stunt coordinator for Punisher season 2. So like the gym scene, any of those demented fight scenes, that my buddy cooked them all up. So
yeah, he's a crazy motherfucker.
We don't want to plug him too much because he fucking all he does is shit on anything I do. So let's not get his ego too high. It's not like he'll ever listen anyways, but I have guilted him on to agreeing to come on this show at some point in time. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's only once he does something cool like Star Wars. I mean, who gives a fuck about Thanos?
Fuck Marvel. That's for our buddy Greggy Boy.
Yeah, that's eventually if we ever get to the Marvel Time show, we'll speak to him.
Right.
So we'll see.
And there could be. I mean, trust me, Nick and I, we geek out on a lot of pop culture stuff. I mean, I didn't start a site and call myself the Entertainment Buddha for fun. I mean, I am a student of pop culture. I could sit here and talk about anything, not just Star Wars. I mean, you say go on, Lord of the Rings, video games, whatever, and I'll just be like, blah, 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 blah.
We'll go on it. And same for me. I mean, both Matt and I have movie passes that will now not include Universal films. So that's one thing that we can't do is we can't talk about fucking Universal movies.
Well, you see that Amazon, I don't know
how going to buy AMC.
AMC. It's like, that's fine. Just don't fuck up the program, right? Don't screw anything up.
Oh, dude.
Don't take away my A-list. If I ever feel like going back to the theater, is the greatest thing ever.
What they'll do is they'll have a AMC Prime for Amazon Prime members where it'll be like an A-list version, except you'll just get like something cheaper.
It'll be all janky.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you get 4 movies a month or so. It'll be a limited version of A-list. So
all right, so that's kind of our Mando talk for today. Get on those behind the scenes; they're well worth it. You get tons of insights, not just in. I mean, honestly, I know this is making of the show. You pretty much don't get any making of the show. You just get insights into the people that worked on the show, why they love the show, why they love Star Wars, and why we all love Star Wars. So that's why it's fantastic. Plus, you never know, you could get another essentially scripture delivered to you from Filoni himself. Yeah. So highly recommend there. All right, Nick, before we're moving right along, I do not think this is going to be a 3-hour show. Thank God.
Thank God.
I'm not going to make it through the show without taking a leak. That just seems to be the way things go these days when we do them earlier, right after my workouts. But you'll know when I leave to take a piss because my fat face just disappears.
Yeah, he'll be gone.
But before we get into all of our fan stuff, and we really have kind of taken it upon ourselves in the lockdown to include fans more than we used to. And I think it's working out. I mean, we're getting great interactions on IG, nothing anywhere else. Oh, by the way, people, out of you 5,000 followers on Instagram, could you take the 2 seconds and like us on Twitter just so we don't look, it doesn't look so embarrassing over there?
Our Twitter, we put up content, we put our articles out there, we put our, any type of written content goes up on Twitter. We don't do like the polls or a lot of the interactions that we do typically on Instagram, but it's not dead. Like we do put stuff up there. And it helps us. If you guys like that, it helps us. If for some reason an advertiser is interested.
It's more like it's not us like, oh, we only have 60 followers, we're losers. We know we're losers, okay?
Yeah.
We need to trick the people that can get us opportunities into thinking that we're bigger than we are. Because we can't really show them our download stats, which, by the way, Nick, we got to clap it out for the group of assholes.
Our downloads have been great this month.
Is a record month already.
Yeah.
We've got many more days to go, so thank you for that. I mean, something has exploded essentially since episode 108. I mean, episode 108 is getting downloaded like 600 to 700 times a week right now. I'm starting to worry that maybe I did say something really fucked up.
I know,
and
right?
People are like spreading it around. So,
dude, they're downloading it and they're holding on to it, and they're like, these guys are like, they're like 5,000, 6,000 followers. When they hit 10,000, we're throwing this back out and we're gonna shut them down.
I was just like, man, you got to be kidding me. It just, what did we say in episode 108? I believe that's the first. Was that? Crazy. We weren't even live. I think that's the first time we used the new.
We recorded our face.
Right. We used a new graphic, but we weren't live. So whatever it is, the listenership is going up, the downloads, the listens, all that's going up. So we do love you all for that. And it looks like Work More or Less, Baron's Black series, and our buddy Agosto, right? Was that the right way? Agosto gave us some follows on Twitter. So yeah, same thing with YouTube, Facebook, all that stuff. Again, I hate doing it, but to show people in the industries that we aren't just a bunch of dopes, we got to have those numbers. So that's why there's no handouts, no donations. Just follow us, spread it like the virus, but the good virus. Star Wars Time 19.
Yes.
All right. So before we get into the fan stuff, we got. I just wanted to pay a little tribute to a movie that I've really kind of come around on, really in the past 2 weeks, mostly because of the Clone Wars. And that's Revenge of the Sith. All right. So if you're a long-time listener to Star Wars Time Show, you probably think I have a I hate Revenge of the Sith tattoo on my back. I've said some pretty nasty things about it, and some of them I still do believe hold true. But thanks to the Clone Wars and what Filoni did there, and just really for the character of Anakin in general, my last screening of ROTS was the best I've ever had. Anakin's turn just felt like it made a little more sense to me. I saw little things as like, okay, I could get into that. I could get into that. So why are we talking about ROTS today? Well, on this day in history, 2005, May 19th, is when Revenge of the Sith hit theaters. So we just wanted to, kind of commemorate it now that we don't completely, or I don't completely hate it.
Yeah.
Nick's always kind of dug it. He gets scared sometimes to tell me that he likes the prequels because he's worried I'm going to reach through there and slit his throat.
I mean, I will say that it took a lot of convincing for you to get me to see, TPM in a better light. To me, Attack of the Clones was always the worst, will always be the worst Star Wars movie, hands down. There's like even sequels, everything. I don't hate any movie. I don't hate any.
I lost Nick. Hello. Hello. Hello? Got? Nah, I can't hear you. Hold on. Check, check, check. Nick? Can you hear me?
Do you want me to just stop my recording and then export and pick it back up?
No, just let it go.
Just leave it go. Okay. Yeah.
I just don't know if the stream is actually going to be working again because I'm just seeing spinny stuff over on my end.
It was spinning for a little bit, and then now I see it going again, but I don't know. Let me unmute it.
You guys, are we back? Can you hear me? Can you hear Nick?
There you go. Jason says.
All right.
I think he's back. Yeah, we're back. We're back.
All right. Amen. Let me record this stupid thing again. Okay.
There we go.
That was neat. So
welcome to the real Star Wars Time Show, everybody.
Yeah, you guys got to see a little behind the scenes. That's how we roll. If you're on the audio only version, you got to miss about 4 or 5 minutes of dead air and Nick just rambling on by himself, waiting for me to say something because we didn't know that the shit got disconnected. I was trying to play the first ever teaser from Revenge of the Sith because we set the stage, 15 years. We were all feeling good about ourselves, and then technology decided to happen. So
yeah.
I'm just not even going to play these stupid ass trailers right now.
Nope, don't play the teaser. People can go look it up on their own on YouTube.
Yeah.
But 15 years. I think for me, like, ROTS kind of did one of these things. It was like a roller coaster, up, down, and then kind of back up again. When I first saw it, I was actually pretty impressed. I was not one of the people who hated it. I really enjoyed it. I know that the fight scene between Anakin and Obi-Wan has been, broken down and shit on by some people. But I thought it looked cool, which was important to me at that time. I thought it was a really cool looking fight. So, no ROTS hate immediately from the Texas HQ.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I remember the first day I saw it, I'd just gotten relocated to Detroit, Michigan. This is when I worked in the corporate sector. Yay. That was always fun, right? And I drove down to Columbus to watch with my dad because I basically saw Clones early with him, TPM the first time with him, and then ROTS. So I drove down. I was like, oh, we're going to get into early screening, this, that, and the other thing. Awesome theater. Because when we saw Attack of Clones, imagine having an AMC theater to yourself with 3 people.
Wow, really?
That's how we saw AOTC. So okay. I thought he had something set up very similarly for ROTS. So I was like, yeah, I'll drive 3.5 hours down to Columbus from Detroit, check it out. And sure as shit, his contact had gotten moved to a different theater chain.
Oh, no.
And it was literally a podunk shit turd, like 6-screen theater in Delaware, Ohio, which is just like a shitbag city. And I was like, all right, whatever. We're still going to get to see it ourselves. Nope. Basically, the guy fed my dad a line of shit, and we had to sit there and wait until midnight to watch it with a bunch of other people in a packed, shitty theater. So
wow.
I'll never forget my first time seeing ROTS. Now, coming away, I was still somewhat hopeful. I watched it for the first time. I was like, oh, wow, yeah, hey, this really is the best prequel. It really is good, right? right. And I just kept like that voice in the back of my head just kept going right. I proceeded to see ROTS, I think at least 3 or 4 more times in theaters. It was the first date with my now wife, believe it or not.
Nice.
But really after that, it kind of killed my love of Star Wars for a while. I mean, I went into hibernation over Revenge of the Sith. It was just, I had, like a lot of you with the sequel trilogy, you probably had all these hopes and aspirations for what it could have been. And then when the trilogy ended, it didn't quite pay off on those hopes. That's me in the prequels. Yeah. So I was let down, didn't really feel like Star Wars, didn't really get into it until the Clone Wars came back around 2008. But these days, thanks to the Clone Wars and what we know with the finale now, I definitely feel much better about ROTS. It doesn't make me feel as itchy anymore. I can talk about some of its awesome parts. Like, I mean, let's be real. That opening shot of that space battle scene
is really fucking cool.
And the drums beating. It's like, man, that's the Star Wars I miss.
That is the essence of it.
It's very Return of the Jedi-like space battle. Mm-hmm. What else? I had likes. There's stuff that I wanted to talk about written down somewhere.
I mean, for me, the opening space battle is really good. I think that the Grievous fight scene, like the everything on Utapau, I thought was pretty okay. Especially, and then like the execution of Order 66 was definitely like because the first time, like I think we talked about this last time we talked about ROTS, but like the first time you see ROTS, like all the Jedi, for some reason, all the Jedi at the end of this movie were gone, and you have no reason why. Like you don't know what happens. Order 66 goes down. All these and then you see this montage of just Jedi being killed, and you're like, holy fuck. Like, this wasn't like a slow death due to the galactic war going on of all these Jedi. It was a literal extermination. So like that was like a holy shit moment for me, was like the execution of Order 66. Like I said, I was never one of the people who hated the fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan because of the lack of realness of an actual sword fight. Like, that never bothered me.
It's not okay. I'm not looking for a realness of. It's not even like a fight half the time. They're just sitting there like doing rave glow stick action.
Yeah, like they're literally like swinging their sabers, smacking them against each other on purpose. And there is the one scene where they're literally just spinning it behind their backs, not even trying to hit each other.
It's like,
but it looked like it like some of the shit in there I thought looked cool. Like when they're battling on the little walk thing over the lava pit, I thought that was pretty intense. I thought overall it was a cool looking scene. Like, it looked really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it can look cool. It also should be somewhat functional, I guess, in terms of a fight.
Which is why I thought that the battle in Tross that's over the water between Kylo and Rey, that was a very realistic fight. Like, obviously they added some flair, they added some different things in there. But if you watch that fight, like, she's trying to stab at his hand. Oh yeah, like you would do in a real sword fight. They're
swinging with power. Like, I mean, they're taking power strokes. Maybe almost too heavy of swings. They probably were playing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order before they went out to do this little battle.
I don't imagine that there is that much weight behind lightsabers, so you could probably swing them with a little bit more finesse.
Well, I always took it as they were combating each other's force fields essentially. Like, she had to wing it at him because he just naturally has force energy pushing it back with his own swings. So,
and what I think was really cool about that fight in particular is like they both used the force to stop the blade. So like what you said just now is like they kind of have this like this force around them at all times, and then they use it to just stop the blade. I thought that was really fucking cool.
But I really liked Palpatine in Revenge of the Sith.
Oh yeah, I mean
the slow game, or not even like the slow game. I mean, as soon as he gets Anakin assigned to him, he just really starts to lay it on. It's like it's the very end. It's the culmination of his 10+ year plan to get the Chosen One as his apprentice.
Yeah.
So he sows that throughout the movie quite well. Other just moment I have as a plus. It's probably the best acting we get out of Hayden, and it's Anakin's burning alive. I mean, that is Darth Vader. That is the level of hate and disgust. And it's not so much, yes, it looks like he's yelling at Obi-Wan right now, but deep down, you know that anger is directed at himself.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he's like a lot of people we have leading right now where they project a lot of shit onto other people. Anakin is projecting all that hate at Obi-Wan because he fucking hated himself for ending up as a pile of burning flesh on the banks of a Mustafar lava river.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's 100% true. I mean,
just the passion, I hate you. I mean, the eyes, there you go. Hayden Christensen can do it. He does it in AOTC too, in the Lars Homestead. That is the Vader I like to see in the live action form.
Yeah.
Dumb stuff that, it's never just going to get away. Palpatine's, during the Dooku fight is so, it's like, how do you let an actor like Ian McDiarmid do that and keep it in the movie? Okay. And then we say this all the time, and I swear they fixed the line, Nick. They've taken it out. When he says, "We're Jedi, how could this happen to us? We're smarter than this."
Wait, they took it out in the Disney Plus
I'm
version?
almost positive because we just watched ROTS last week, and I rewinded it, and I think they still say we're smarter than this, but they don't do the Jedi stuff unless I just always have made that up.
No, he definitely said we're Jedi, we're smarter.
All right,
than this.
I may have to check it again because typically weekends when we're watching movies, I'm having a few beers. But I swear they cut out the how could this happen? We're Jedi. We're smarter than this.
Surprise me, like because they did do small tweaks in some of them. I mean, they did the McClunky bullshit in episode 4.
McClunky.
I mean, it just makes no fucking sense. But it wouldn't surprise me if they did cut something like that. I mean, the Ray Shields thing was just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's silly. But I mean, and Mace is just a dickhead. Like, if you really look at it, Mace Windu is the reason the Chosen One goes to the dark side. No other. Yeah. There's no other reason. Fuck Padme. Fuck all this. Fuck Palpatine. Mace is just a dick.
He is. It's just so crazy because you would figure that as a Grand Master of the Jedi Order at that time, like, he has emotion, like, he has an emotional attachment, a negative emotional attachment to Anakin.
There
like,
you
would figure that he would be able to identify that and say, like, hey, look, I initially didn't want this kid to join the Order, but now that he's a part of it, I have to accept this and train him as I would train any other Jedi. But he doesn't. Like, he hates Anakin for some reason.
Dude, and we, sorry. The kiddo and I pulled up Clone Wars 2003 for her.
Yeah, it's Gennady, yeah.
And instantly mesmerized. Like, I mean, we've watched some of the George and Dave Clone Wars. She doesn't quite get into it. I don't know if because they're not as fast paced as Clone Wars 2003, 2005. But I found, some asshole upload both seasons on YouTube. You can just watch it straight through, no breaks, 2 hour, 20 minutes.
I'll have the DVDs here soon.
Oh, yeah. We watched the whole thing. And by the way, fucking fantastic. Like, if you have not seen that Clone Wars, it is a shame that they decanonized it, because the second season essentially is one long build-up to Anakin and Obi rescuing the Chancellor at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith.
You literally see, like, the Jedi chasing Grievous out of the temple.
Yeah.
And then you see the moment, you see why Grievous talks like that.
Yes.
Fucking Mace crushes his chest.
Exactly.
And, I mean, there's a lot of good shit in that series.
It's I love the animation. It's different Star Wars to me. Like, it's a lot of in your face. You could almost say violent. You got that Dirge character. But what I was going to say, the reason I brought that up, even in that, Mace Windu is an extreme cock off to Anakin.
Yeah.
I mean, even Obi-Wan twists him a little bit. I mean, you can see when he was, because these cartoons, they pick up almost immediately after Clone, so Anakin is still a Padawan. In fact, I believe the first season ends with Anakin becoming a Jedi Knight. Like we see his Jedi Knight ceremony.
He cuts off, where he gets his little rat tail cut off and everything.
They even even in season 2, when he's long hair Anakin, they do a thread where they show us where he has a vision of himself becoming Vader. But again, all that's been decanonized, and it's a shame because, yes, it was more of an over-the-top type of cartoon, animation-wise, and really for the time Star Wars story-wise, but they told great stories and honored in my opinion, the characters of Anakin and how he was, and Obi-Wan and how they were together as trainer and learner, but then as equals. And then, just like I said, all the Mace Windu stuff and the mistrust of the Council to Anakin, that has a focus in that Clone Wars as well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything else on Revenge? Go ahead.
I have a quick question for you. It's tangentially related to...
All right, so I won't take a leak since you're asking me a question. Go ahead.
to Ross. So, all right, so we know that pre-Clone Wars, Ross was pretty questionable for you. Like, you didn't get into it. Do you think that, 5, 10, however many years down the road, that we will get a cartoon style treatment for the sequel trilogy, like in between, just like Clone Wars, where you're working in between movies, you're filling in gaps, you're giving more context, and you're essentially making the movie better by giving it more life through cartoon series? Do you think we'll ever get that for, like, you can't really do it for TFA, TLJ because there's no time? Could you see it happen for between TLJ and TROS, because we know that there's at least a year that is between those two time periods? Do you think that we can get a cartoon series that will do the same thing for TROS that Clone Wars did for ROTS?
No.
You don't think they'll ever do it?
No, I think Disney is committed to, we're not making any content related to the Skywalker saga ever again.
It's so weird though, dude. It's so, because I feel like you can't.
I'm not saying it's the right move, but I mean, I don't see it happening, and it's I don't know why. There's still plenty of stories to tell. You don't have to have Luke, Leia, and Han in there, but it seems they position it, hey, if you're Rey, Finn, or Poe, you are attached to the Skywalker saga, therefore you're done.
Yeah. I just feel, I mean, I agree that I don't think that they would do it, but I think that
Barron's got a good idea. Spencer, he's saying it'd have to be on how Palpatine came back. Yeah, I mean, I would love to see shit like that.
Yeah, something like that. Even if they just, like, and we had talked about it before, and I remember the moment Matt found out about this on the podcast, you lost your shit. Even if they would have put the line that they put in Fortnite.
No. Not the Fortnite thing.
If they would have put that in the goddamn movie, it would have just been so much better.
Oh my God. It really is. I mean, that is like the biggest circle jerk of all time.
Yeah, it was just such a dumb move. And I understand what Disney was trying to do. Like, they had this whole big Fortnite event where you had the Rey skins and the Sith Trooper skins and all these different skins in Fortnite. And it's the biggest game in the world and all this shit. But you don't put the line that introduces the Chancellor Palpatine back into, or the Emperor back into the galaxy in a fucking Fortnite reveal.
Right.
Like,
let's be honest. Most of the people playing Fortnite, I mean, they weren't even alive during the prequels, for Christ's sake, right?
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck about Star Wars like we do, at least in terms of a narrative and storytelling.
Yeah.
They would have signed into Fortnite to get the damn skins with or without this big special planned community reveal.
Yeah.
It is. I still am dumbfounded that this is how Palpatine's reintroduction was handled. I had no idea until this motherfucker told me, and made me just question TROS even more than I already did.
It's just like, and the thing is like, that shows me that was an idea in fucking J.J. Abrams' head, and he was like, this could be great in the movie, and then Disney was like, or somebody was like, hey, put this in Fortnite for some reason.
Cross promotion, we can get like an extra skin sale.
Yeah. Like,
because movie fans, I was not signing. I knew this was going on, but I thought it was just going to be some stupid circle jerk. Oh, look, here's a new skin. I had no idea that this was a staged, hey, you got to create an account, log in to watch a key part of The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, because I can imagine if they did it in the movie, you have the reveal of Exegol as a planet overlaying this galaxy-wide broadcast from the Emperor. So you see Exegol first, he starts speaking, and then you just go around to the different planets and get the different reactions of all of the people in the galaxy. Yeah. Like even like Kylo, Rey, Poe, all of them would hear this broadcast from the Emperor, and then you have that oh shit moment of like, things have changed. Things are different now. And now we need to figure out what the fuck we need to do, because not only is the First Order here, but now you have the re-emergence of Emperor Palpatine and his forces on Exegol. Like, that is a game changer to that movie.
Yeah,
and I don't know
it helps
made that decision.
It helps us. I don't think it fixes the breakneck first hour of the film where they're just jamming everything down your throat, but it at least makes the context of his return not as like, oh yeah, it's just in the crawl, and then you have to see a poor guy like Oscar Isaacs go, Palpatine.
Yeah, like that terrible. It fixes that for sure. So I really do hope that once we're 5 years out of this, maybe even more, that they rethink that decision of no more Skywalker content, and they allowed somebody like Dave Filoni to come in there and say like, hey, you made Clone Wars probably the best prequel content, period. Why don't you go in here? We gave you 2 years between TLJ and TROS and work some magic. Like, make shit happen.
I'm all for it. Let's see. We talked about last week. I think someone asked, Kathleen, should she be renewed? And I said no. I mean, this is no woman hate stuff. It just, she's had her time and it's stumbled. All right. The movies have made less and less money. The fandoms got crazier and crazier. There once was a set schedule of this is coming, this is coming, this is coming. That's all kind of like, who knows? So yeah, let's go. Let's get someone back in there. But hey, fun tangents there. So Rots, not as bad as you may have remembered, especially if you're caught up on the Clone Wars and kind of saw how all that was resolved. And Clone Wars 2003-2005 from Gennady is fantastic. Or Genndy, however the fuck you say his name.
I think it's, I'm not sure.
But it's good stuff, and there's plenty of assholes that have stolen it from the artist that created it and have released it for free on YouTube. I would suggest trying to pay for it if you can, because a lot of people listen to the show, I assume you create content. You make your toy art, you make your photography, we'd create content, and it just kind of sucks when people are dicks.
Yeah.
Get some artists, get them their residuals is what we're trying to say. All right, Nick, I think it's time to move into the fan segment, not the one that everyone's here waiting for, but kind of the new extensions we've added there. I want to do some mentions and whatnot this week, but I've really got to take a leak. So I think let's just go ahead and get into your question. You want to do question of the week, or do you want to maybe highlight the Force user battle of death?
I will go through the question of the week answers real quick while you're taking a whiz, because I want to get your thoughts on some of these battles as well. So
let me pull up the feed here. Our questions to fans. There we go.
And then I'll just read them off, and I know I have some other ones down there as well. So question of the week this week was, I forgot to put it up early, which is why it's a relatively easy question. So the question was, if you were a Jedi or Sith, what would your lightsaber color be and why? So we'll just kind of go through some of the story answers, and then I picked out some of my favorite responses that were on the post itself. First off, from Angel Gonzalez, he says, blue, it fits my personality. Kind of a boring answer, but okay, I get it. MC Figtography says yellow. He wants to be in the middle, a balance of the Force, light and dark. So going with the Rey color, and also color of the Jedi Temple Guards, yellow. Darth Dad says green, and he says he wants green because ever since he saw it in ROTJ, it was his favorite toy, and he wants to go back to that old 80s style with the green saber. Paulo Picasso says purple because I'm a BMF, just like fucking Samuel L. Jackson. That's all you need to get a purple lightsaber.
I like that because
to say.
Well, apparently, I just saw this. I posted a kind of a prequel era trilogy facts video. that Fandango pointed out, and apparently he had badass motherfucker inscribed on his hilt.
Yeah, he still got it. He still got the hilt, and then he's like, because he brought it on some like British talk show, and he's like, oh yeah, I still got the saber, and it says BMF on it.
All right, so we were on Palo.
Brennan Olsen, the next one.
All right, I want a quick comment on the yellow.
Yeah,
isn't yellow a combination of blue and green? And I think that's kind of why Rey's turns yellow. Like if you ever look at that last scene, she cracks it. You can literally see like it's almost like a Leia crystal, green crystal, or Luke crystal forms into the yellow. So
yes, yeah.
I would think if you want to be a mix of dark and light, it's probably purple.
Purple would be closer. And the funny thing that you say, that is in the book, in the Rots book, it says that Mace Windu's lightsaber style actually forced him to embody the dark side of the Force while he fought. Like he was like Form 7, I can't remember the name, Vapad or something like that. And he would take on the essence of the dark side when he would fight with his lightsaber. So good, actually very good call there.
Brennan is coming in as purple.
Yeah, Jedi. He wants to be a Jedi in purple. I'm like Obi-Wan, but I like being unique. Okay. Extra credit, Bounty says purple. I have the discipline to work for the side of the good, but Lord knows if I got to dabble every once in a while to stop an MF, I will.
I like it. I like it.
Well said. Well said.
Good one.
Sam Rust Belt Collector. Light blue for sure as a Jedi. Light blue is interesting too because like I know if you go on some of these custom saber sites like Ultra Saber, Saber Forge, stuff like that.
Are we saying that that's more like an aqua than the light blue?
Yeah,
color?
That's like an aqua, not necessarily like a Kenobi color because that's more of like a traditional blue, but like a lighter blue. Yeah, you can pick that as your saber color if you wanted to too at those custom builders. Jedi in my dreams, which is Dreamer_Jedi_Master. I choose to be a Jedi, of course.
Where's all the bad people? Like everyone wants to be a good guy here.
I know, right? We'll get to a couple from the post comments. He says the reason for blue's his favorite color, and he thinks he'd look great with one. So a little bit of vanity,
getting stylish.
One from my buddy Phil. So this was a good one from Facebook.
Yeah, this one's deep.
Yeah, so I knew he was going to pick silver. As soon as I posted the question, I knew Phil was going to pick silver. And it was because we used to play KOTOR all the time, and you could pick your lightsaber color, because at one point it asks you, like you're going through your memories, and they were like, oh, what color was your lightsaber? And he always picked silver. So it says silver because in the old legend stories, the Horn family used silver lightsabers and were a branch of the Jedi. Corran Horn was the main character in the original X-Wing series from Legends, and he found his family's lightsaber and had a silver crystal to it, and it also had a solid black hilt. So it was a really fucking badass lightsaber, solid black hilt with a silver blade. And then he went on to say that the Jedi, like that branch of Jedi, believed in marriage and could have kids. And then, like I just mentioned, every time we would play KOTOR, he picked the silver lightsaber. There you go. So. Good call by Phil. Spencer here.
Look at Spencer. He
lighten
had
up
an interactive reply.
Yeah. Lighten up his custom blade. Yeah. So if I had one, my first custom saber was red. I got that from Saber Force, so that one's red. And then my second is the Kylo Ren lightsaber, so that one's red as well. But then my build from what you call it, from Galaxy's Edge, I have red, blue, purple, green. So I covered.
You bought every damn crystal then, huh?
I didn't get yellow because I was like, man, I don't know. Do I need yellow? And there was a white, so I still have two that I need to pick up.
Got it.
I should have got the yellow now, knowing that Rey's was yellow. All right, so Papa coming in. Here we go. You want to get some dark side users? Papa Palpatine Photography says black crystal like in Force Unleashed to match my heart.
I love it. Thank you, Papa. You're the man.
Papa.
I love it.
And I'm glad a lot of black, because that was a Force Unleashed one. Chaos Cuties here says she would want to have a light pink one.
Yeah, all right.
Cute pastel pink lightsaber slicing and dicing through the Empire. So she's sticking on the light side of things with the light pink.
I love it.
A little bit of that's just like Jaina Solo.
Yeah.
Agosto here says He would want to be an ex-Jedi turned bounty hunter with a gray lightsaber. There we go, getting deep. The lightsaber would be great to represent how nothing is ever black and white.
Wow.
I would have left the Jedi Order because the Jedi's black and white views on the universe and the Force, which I would ultimately disagree with.
That's some deep shit, a ghost though.
Yeah,
I mean, that's kind of like a Qui-Gon Jinn take, I think.
Yeah. This one from Stormtrooper Pete, I picked it because I liked it because I played the game. He said yellow, like the ones used by Arkin and Thexan from the Old Republic MMO video game and the short movies. If you've never watched the SWTOR Star Wars The Old Republic cinematic cutscenes, do yourself a favor and watch them. They're fucking incredible. They're fantastically made by EA. They're some of the best Star Wars cinematic animated content you can see. And they're fantastic. So,
this is the PC game though, right? This is the MMO. It's not the console games.
Yes. But EA made movie quality cinematics.
Oh, I remember it. From some of the promos, right? They had like that ship open up and all the red lightsabers charge out.
I could still watch that. And if I watch that, I will go resubscribe to that game.
That's Malgus, isn't it?
Yeah, Darth Malgus, yeah. And he was fighting Bastilla Shan from the KOTOR games. Like he kills Bastilla's master at that point, and then he kind of has a little tussle with Bastilla herself.
Got you.
Stormtrooper Pete with the yellow, aka going back towards the SWTOR stuff. Nostalgic Adam, one of our top 5 winners. Actually, a few times Adam's made the top 5. He's going with Viridian. So it's a rarer crystal and it's unique, and I've always loved the green silvery look when I first used it in KOTOR 2, because KOTOR 2 was the one where you could get some pretty out there lightsaber colors.
Got you.
Scion XTC saying that if it's not mandatory to have a red lightsaber, being a Sith, he would go with a black blade. There we go again with the black.
Yeah.
To be a little bit more incognito, hidden in the
now. Would the black be the dark saber essentially? Would you have that white black hole kind of shine off of it, or would it literally just be like Scion saying,
like a literal kind of
can't even see it, like it's almost invisible in dark light.
In absence of color, my cat's walking across my keyboard and mic right now. I think it would be like the Darksaber, because even in Force Unleashed, you had like the interior of the blade was black, and then the exterior, like the outside of the blade, was white. So you did have like this really cool, almost like black hole style lightsaber. It was really awesome. Anytime somebody says black, I would think that they meant that. And even the next one here, Thrawn's Black Series art, he says black again. I had always hoped Palpatine would have a black saber when the prequels came out. This was long before the Darksaber was a thing. So if I was a Sith, I'd have a double-bladed black.
I like that. I like that. That looks good.
And then Dad Fett here coming out, purple or black. I would have hunted down Mace's crystal and recovered the Darksaber for myself. And he would use both.
Brochacho. So I like it. You gotta get Dad Fett's brochacho in there.
Yeah. So that's the selected answers for our lightsaber.
We had one at the end, Nick. I had to throw in there from our buddy Down Under. Not Greggy boy. Greggy's in the chat. He wants a rainbow one, which is perfect.
Rainbow. There we go.
But this is from changed his name to Darth Hideous, but it's Star Wars Toys. I think 73.
Darth Hideous a good name now.
Yeah, Sith 100% and a black blade because that's metal. Because
that's metal. Yeah. I agree.
Rock and roll. Definitely.
So yeah, those are the answers.
Yeah,
to
good
our
stuff.
questions.
I mean, those have been fun. Nick, every week's going to have the big one for the show, but we're also going to try to sprinkle other things in there, like the other project he has got going on, which we'll talk about now, and that is the Force User Battle to the Death.
Yes, I hashtagged it Battle for the Ages because we're going in between all the ages.
Oh yeah,
Age of Republic, Age of Rebellion, Age of Resistance, and we even got some Old Republic in there as well. So it is a 16 Force user single elimination bracket. So let me explain this to some of you people who are like, why is this person fighting this person? Blah blah blah. So I went through and seeded everybody 1 to 16. And we're doing a March Madness sports style 16 team bracket. And we have done 4 rounds so far. And the way that it works is in a bracket style challenge, if you've never taken part in one of these before, your first round always starts off with your 1 seed playing your 16 seed, your 2 seed playing your 15 seed, and then you go down like that.
Best versus the worst.
Yes. So that's why you have some of the matchups that you're seeing here, which was the first. So we've played out 4 rounds so far up to this point, or 4 matchups this far.
I've got the first round pulled up now.
First round was number 1 seed Anakin Skywalker, because he's number 1 seed because, as we've talked about before, born from the Force is the most powerful
it's easy.
measured force.
His name,
yes,
the Chosen One. There you go.
The Chosen One. And then our number 16 seed Asajj Ventress. And this one was a pretty hefty blowout. 88% for Anakin, 12% for Ventress. It's interesting that Ventress got the 12% that she got. And what we can do too on IG stories polls is I can go in and see who voted for what.
Oh, too. You can rat people out?
I can rat people out. So I know Scion's not in the chat right now, but I also know that Scion voted for Ventress. Scion went against the Chosen One here and voted for Ventress. So
trying to mix things up. I mean, that's back to 2003 Clone Wars. One of the last arcs, I think, of the first season was an epic battle between Asajj and Anakin, where she was essentially picked by Dooku from a fighting ring so he could groom her to fuck with Anakin, and he sends her in. She pulls Anakin away. They go to this planet, and they kick the shit out of each other, and then he comes back. But it's a good battle. I mean, you really get to see some angry Anakin come out. So much so that he grabs one of her red sabers and really gets nuts there at the end. Oh yeah, and then just a couple of other. Let's see here. See the voters. A couple of other noteworthy voters for Ventress here. We have Star Wars Blacksters 2019, Mr. Greg Boy on the Ventress train. And then we also have, let's see, Will Candy Photography was one that he's been in our top 5 a few times. So all right. Those are our Ventress voters. It's all good. So next match was
Obi-Wan versus Rey. So.
And that one I have pulled up now. That was a 93% to 7% drubbing by
Obi,
the old crazy guy from the Dune Sea.
If you want to know the breakdown in terms of the number of votes, 161 votes for Obi-Wan, 12 votes for Rey. R.I.P. Rey. And then for those of you, so Jason, Work More or Less, voted for Rey.
All right.
Yin Keat, he voted for Rey.
Get some.
Let's see who else we got here. Toy at Heart voted for Rey. So there was some love from Rey from some of the prominent people in our community, but definitely no competition, we could say there in that one.
I don't know. I mean, that is a tough one because you got the dyad versus probably one of the most skilled, trained, and tempered Jedi out there. I mean,
I know that.
But he did beat the Chosen One during the Chosen One's prime. So
yeah. So, I mean, I can't disagree with it. I will say that the disparity of the vote was very interesting.
Yeah.
Like I would figure...
there's reasons for that, but we don't need to go into it. I think
that given, and I want to give a shout out to my friend Phil. Phil's actually watching in the chat. Thank me for the shout out on the show. Of course, sir. I'm glad that you responded to the question. I just figured that, it's another question like we addressed from Papa the other week, like, who would win in a fight between Ahsoka and Rey? And if Rey had training, if Rey had any sort of proper Jedi training, I think that she could give anybody a run for their money.
Yeah.
But as we see them in their primes, and as we see Rey in her prime in the movies, I do think that Qui-Gon,
she gets Obi a little emotional from that Palpatine clone jizz blood in her. So you never know.
Oh, yeah.
You never know. That's why Kenobi, that's why he could beat these people that were technically more powerful than him in the Force because of how grounded and focused he was. So
yeah.
All right, next we had Qui-Gon versus Revin. Was it Darth Revin, so not
Darth
good Revin.
So
this is a close one, huh?
It was closer than what I thought it should have been, honestly. If there was any one of them that was going to be a complete and utter blast, I thought it was going to be this one.
Yeah.
Because you could argue that Revin could be a 2 seed. Like I have him listed as number 4 here, but Revin is just such a powerhouse. He could be a 2 seed.
This one's interesting. So I'm assuming we have a lot of Jinn fans in here, as in the Qui-Gon, not the Urso. Yeah. But we got to see the man fight twice.
Yes.
He kind of held his own, but was getting battled back on Tatooine. On Naboo, once he got separated from his homeboy, he got taken out pretty easily.
Yeah.
I don't know what that says about Qui-Gon's fighting skills, if he was too much in the living force versus just being in the moment, getting ready to fight. But you would think, I'm with you, man. I mean, I would think Revin would just absolutely eat Qui-Gon's lunch.
Yeah, it wouldn't even be a competition. But the vote breakdown for this one here is 62 votes for Qui-Gon, 77 for Revin. And I mean, like the votes kind of broke down pretty evenly on both sides. Qui-Gon, notable voters. Let's see here. Operators of the Republic. Agosto voted for Qui-Gon. Let's see. Vinfaith Customs is another one that we see. SWTBS, Wild Wing, and Tones, Visual Force. A lot of big names voting for Qui-Gon. And then on the Revin side of things, I know my friend Phil voted for Revin on the Facebook side. Klondike, and then you had Papa.
I feel like I need to start voting from my other accounts, because I always forget. I see it on, the Star Wars Time Show account, and we can't vote. So I'm like, fuck it. I just forget about it.
I jumped in and voted on the next one, but we had Scion vote for Revin. So this was way closer than I think it should have been.
Yeah, but hey, that's why these are fun, right?
That's why these battles happen. And the next one is a perfect reason.
This is the funny one here, yeah.
It is hilarious how this fucking vote broke down, and you have Darth Bane versus Darth Maul, and the way that this thing finished is absolutely insane. You have a 29% vote for Bane and a 71% vote for Maul, which is crazy. I mean, and I cut this up to a lot of, Papa mentioned it in the comments. You have a lot of people who are caught up in the moment now from Clone Wars. Maul is up there in terms of their, people's affinity for that character. And I will also say that I just don't think that enough people know who Darth Bane is.
Right.
Like,
that's what it is. Plus, as you said, Maul just got a huge injection of Star Wars steroids this past month. So yeah. People are riding a Maul high, just like I am. Like, my new drug is Maul. So yeah. I probably would have voted for him too, but if you really want to get down to it, right? The way you've explained Bane to me, he is kind of the forefather of the rule of two. He figured shit out. He realized that Sith were fucking stupid, and that the only way for them to succeed is to kill them out till there's only two, and then always make sure that the younger one tries to kill the older one, rinse and repeat. Yeah,
and just in terms of a power rating for those of you out there, because this is basically based off of like who would win in a fight. Darth Bane has some notable moments in his dark side career. So he was initially a part of this Sith organization called the Brotherhood of Darkness back when there was a full army of Sith. And when he realized that this bullshit will not work, he thought of something and created a force bomb called a thought bomb. And what he did was he somehow trapped all of these Sith that were a part of the Brotherhood of Darkness in a cave, set off this thought bomb, and what it did was killed all of their bodies and captured their souls in a state of never-ending torment inside of this cave. And then he was also able to use his body as a conduit to set off a force storm that killed an entire battlefield worth of Jedi. So he's a pretty powerful motherfucker. And he's still canon too. Darth Bane is still canon. He was canonized in, I believe he was in Star Wars Rebels, right? Like they find his.
It's been a minute. I definitely need to fire up Rebels again, but I'm still trying to do this chronological Clone Wars rewatch nonsense. That can be made so fucking easy, Disney, if you just made the goddamn playlist on Disney Plus. Hire some fucking shithead intern. It'll take him or her, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours maybe, to fucking line up a playlist chronologically. Thank you.
So the Bane Maul breakdown, 71% for Maul, 29% for Bane. If you haven't read the Darth Bane books, go do that. They're fantastic.
Yeah, they're riding in the live chat right now over this fight. But hey, it is what it is. You got to vote where it counts.
You got to vote. I will give you a teaser. The next matchup that's coming up, this is a big one, and a lot of people are going to be pissed off about it. But this is how the bracket breaks down. Number 2 seed Emperor Palpatine versus number 15 seed Ahsoka Tano.
Oh no!
So look out in the stories. And then on the post for that, because that's our next one. Your vote only counts if it's on the story. So if you're on Instagram, you see the post that I put up to announce that it's on there. Go to the story, vote on the rules. Poll. So
the intern showed up.
Emperor Palpatine versus Ahsoka Tano. Let's see how much emotion will carry over from the Clone Wars if the number 2 versus the number 15 can result in another upset. But that one will be coming later today, everybody.
Yes, keep your eyes out. Keep those thumbs ready to tap away. Nick's going to keep running through this bad boy on Instagram, and just follow the rules. Get your votes in. All right, dude. So I think we can move into mentions. I'm going to try something a little different here. I kind of teased it at the onset here. Those of you that know me, you've probably seen this on my personal accounts as well. But I just got to bring up the mention the show got and Haywood Pop got from some people you are all aware with, at least those that are on the live stream right now, are those that tend to fuck around on Instagram with toy photography. It's the 1/6 pack. Okay, they're kind of part of the media network that we've looped into with X-Clue Magazine. They do a show kind of like this one, but they actually let each other drink live on the show. So good for them. Nick kind of killed that for me because I'm a lunatic and would show up too drunk for the recordings. So
you gotta drink responsibly.
Yeah, no live drinking here. So what I'm going to try to do, they released episode 20 last week. You should listen to the whole thing as you do with our show, most of you at least. But they talk about 1/6 scale figures, new releases, this, that, and the other thing. But then they kind of have a community spotlight feature for people that take photos of 1/6 figures. It's not just Star Wars, it could be anything. And they, for some reason, picked one of my shots, which I always find to be odd because I think I blow. But they liked it and they said some really nice things. So I just wanted to play that here for everyone, just so we can A, appreciate me and Nick some more, and B, just kind of throw a plug out to the dudes over on the 1/6 pack. So let me see if I can do this, Nick. You and I, we're not going to be able to hear it.
Yeah, we won't hear it.
They may be able to hear it. Who the fuck knows after the audio snafu? So I could potentially be breaking this again. But we're going to listen to about a minute and a half of their show where they just essentially tell everyone that the Star Wars Time Show is the best fucking Star Wars podcast for Star Wars fans they've ever heard. And then I'm going to play a real quick clip from Tom, one of the greatest commenters on Instagram, Ivuatu, where he confirms to everyone that Instagram personally hates my guts. So let's see if we can do this, Nick. I'm going to go ahead and drop Slack and add the 6-pack.
Oh, I'm up first.
All right. So they're talking now. I'm going to try to be quiet while they're talking because I can't hear them. But Trevor's essentially announcing my shot, and then he gets into some stuff on the show. Let's let it soak in. Let it wash over us.
Love him. Love the show. This is a great show. If you haven't watched the show, hands down.
I don't know what they're saying. I'm trying to react to
it. The best Star Wars podcast. They did a live last week on YouTube, which was great, taking questions and stuff. They know their shit.
And Nick, whenever you think we've let this go for about a minute and a half, let me know.
Things get repeated real quickly in that show.
Seconds. I'm in meditation pose on and off.
Yeah, you're
preparing for the upcoming battle.
He's doing his Qui-Gon.
That show is a great listen. Like, honestly, there was a time when I had to take
sitting here. I should be like a cat, just grooming myself, listening to all the.
It was like hour and a half sitting in traffic.
Yeah,
and the only thing that kept me sane for that hour and a half time
all these nice things about me.
I feel
Star
so
Wars Time
important.
Show, because that show, he had me laughing half the time, and then the other half of the time,
those of you
I'm
watching
things
here,
about Star Wars that I never knew before. Because
that's the thing. That's the thing.
Have they moved on to my dumbass photography yet? Or are they still talking about how great I am?
Time that I was asking them questions on the live the other day. I didn't get them answered, but that's okay. But yeah, this I was just going through Matt because Matt jumps. He started out as pop stuff, which pops, and he's moved, I think, well away from those now. Does a lot of 112 stuff, but he's got a bunch of
getting some love from Jason
figures,
in the chat.
Luke, the guards.
I'm getting yelled at for talking.
The Emperor, maybe a Vader or something. But damn, I saw this one. I was like,
you can also see in this video, everybody.
I remember liking it.
TJ at the bottom gives no shits.
I did. I apologize.
That's my favorite part.
Super nice, and you're not seeing some of this detail. I think it was a screenshot, and I had to blow it up. So I'm sorry, Matt, but still beautiful. I mean,
okay, I'm assuming we've made it past the part where both Trevor and Tom essentially are like, yeah, I mean, this is one of the greatest Star Wars podcasts of all time. So I just wanted to make sure everyone heard that. Now, I know you guys are yelling at me. I can't hear what the hell they're saying. So tough shit. You're going to get what you get. Now, this one is from Tom, and this is specifically for me. It makes me feel, I guess, less crappy about why no one likes my shots on Instagram, but it confirms that Instagram hates at Haywood Pop. So here we go. And I may actually try to be quiet during this one.
There's nothing getting lost in the shadows. Love it.
Matt's also one of those guys where I swear Instagram itself has something out for him because it hides his stuff a lot. And I have not seen this shot before.
This is great for the audio-only version.
I know, right?
Sorry, people. We can't have too much dead air.
This thing is gorgeous.
Yeah, one of his best.
And by the way, you should already seen these damn clips, right? You can go to their YouTube. So I think we got the part where Tom's basically like, IG fucking hates Matt. So that's all I needed you to hear.
Yeah, I don't know what just confirmation from a fantastic artist and friend like Tom. It's always good to let Matt know that it's not the quality of his work. It is the quality of the IG algorithm.
Yes, thank you. So in all seriousness, I just wanted to throw that out there. Yes, go check them out. Their content, their show can be seen on the X-Clue Magazine YouTube channel. That's episode 20 in particular. Scroll down towards the end when they get into the community features. Yes, Tones, TJ is definitely asleep. He is not a fan of the Star Wars Time Show or Haywood Pop, but that is all right. It was
great to hear that. Like when you shared that with me and I watched it, I just had a smile from ear to ear. It's awesome to hear. I mean, stuff like that.
I am a narcissist when it comes to my Star Wars knowledge and what I do with Star Wars. So anytime people feed into that and confirm what I already know in my head, it makes me feel like less of an asshole.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I totally agree with that.
Because I bother Nick with this shit all the time. Like, oh, we should be bigger. Why the fuck do people not like us? Why aren't they quoting us on Reddit instead of these other idiots? So to hear that from Trevor and Tom, excellent. As far as Haywood Pop goes, I'll just have to take their word for it because they are much better artists and photographers than I am. So that was it for the quick mentions. We did the fan questions. Greg's leaving. Matt is human. He reacts like we do with the top 5. I'm reading live comments. And Baron's Black Series is right. It is time for the top 5. And in this case, the top 5 plus 1 Star Wars fan artist features of the week. Nick?
Yes, top 5 plus 1. Not the top 6, okay? The top 5 is me. The plus 1 is Matt. As you know, last week, Matt took away and he gave us a breakdown of one of his shots. And then this week he gets to pick his own personal top 1. So it's the top 5 plus 1, everybody. This week we have some awesome artwork and one that both Matt and I, really were into, and we'll get to that when we get to his top 1. But first off, leading up is at Jet Freeland on Instagram with a really, really cool clone trooper shot here. The weathering is the first thing that stood out to me. The weathering and the posing here of this figure were really fucking spot on. And then just like the background, the atmosphere, like overall, just a really solid clone shot here from at Jet Freeland.
Yeah, I've become a big fan of these lower light shots, where it is just kind of a black background. So you rely on the figure itself, any props or dios, and then lighting to kind of bring it to life. And that's what Jet's doing right here. I wish I could figure out lens flares. I'm not even good at adding those posts, but they do kind of liven a shot up a bit. But just a little touch of atmosphere here. Who knows if it's aerosol or fog, vape, but just it allows the light source to bounce a little bit. And then, like you said, decent weathering. I don't know if this is after. Yeah, it looks like this is probably some custom weathering here. I believe this clone was a part of one of those Entertainment Earth clone 4-packs. I'm not sure which division he belongs to. He's a green boy, so you never know. But yeah, I don't want to ever say any shot's simple, but it's just a nice portrait style pose, good perspective. Like I said, I like the kind of the low light background to allow the light and atmosphere to pop.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really well done shot. Just having that slight light source coming from the left-hand side of the photo, the bottom left-hand side, kind of lighting it up a little bit there. Really well executed, really cool looking shot here at Jet_Freeland on Instagram. Very well done.
By the way, Spencer said I had a perfect segue into the top 5. So
there we go. It's always nice to know that our segues aren't cookie cutter.
Coming up next.
Yeah.
Speaking of, moving on to.
Hey, sometimes the old tried and true ones are.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, this is another show where I'm sitting here going, like, how the fuck did we make it to here?
2 hours when we had 4 things to talk about.
We're 2 hours. We had a straight fucking blow up with my system again. This core audio bullshit. It's just like, please, Audacity, will you just make your software work with this shitty version of the Mac OS I have to deal with right now?
That's probably why they didn't do it. They're like, fuck that. It's too broken.
Man, GarageBand it should be such a great piece of software, but it's just a turd these days with this core audio nonsense. So, all right.
Not great.
Who do you got for us next, man? Oh, I dig this one. I like this.
Yeah, next up is Gree01 on Instagram at GREE01. And this guy, I mean, he's definitely been in the top 4 before. It's been top 5 before. It's been a little while since we've seen him, but he has a fantastic Jedi Temple Guardian shot here. You got the full kind of garb and mask that you would see from a Jedi Temple Guardian, double-bladed yellow lightsaber, and then really the particle effects in the background, the kicked up sand, and then just the environment that he has this figure.
I'm a big fan of Gree01. He's a machine. I mean, I'd say at least one post a day, if not more. I don't even know what the fuck figure this is. Yes, I know the character, but I don't know if this is a custom. I know it's not a Black Series, so is this 3 3/4 inch? Anyone in the live chat, if you're hearing, let us know. But yeah, I mean, the figure first off catches your eye, right? They got that badass looking mask, nice looking hood, even though it's all plastic. But then it's kind of the practical effect with the particle action there. Some pretty good saber edit, and really even just a perspective, having the camera tilted here on the picture just kind of adds to it. But I want to know where this figure comes from.
Yeah, I mean, the figure itself is definitely what first caught my eye, because I was thinking back. I'm like, have we ever really seen a Jedi Temple
Rebels,
Guardian
I believe,
figure?
Right? I mean,
that was in Rebels. I mean, the character itself comes from Rebels. That was when we find out that the Inquisitor, it was a Jedi Temple Guardian initially. Like, he was a Jedi Temple Guardian before he fell to the dark side and became an Inquisitor.
I'm gonna go with this as a 3 3/4 inch, or it's a custom, and the reason being, it doesn't look like its arms bend, so that's why I think it's one of the tiny boys. But it is pretty sweet.
Yeah. So I mean, just overall awesome use of the lens flare there on the lightsaber as well. A couple of lens flares already, first 2 shots, and excellent staging, excellent posing, and then just a really creative shot here by Gree01. So yeah, give him a follow on Instagram at GREE01. Well done.
Hi, Blanche.
What was that?
I was paid to say something. So.
Oh, hi, Blanche.
Yeah,
is that what you said?
I'm taking live donations now for shout outs on the show.
There we go. Hi, Blanche.
Yeah.
Hello. Next up in the top 5, we have
that's an old school name, by the way.
Art, but I looked at the account, and I think it's Noe Leva Art at Noe NOELEYVA _art on Instagram. What we have here is an actual illustration / painting of Kylo Ren.
I love this. Love it.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome shot. Kylo Ren, Supreme Leader Kylo with the cracked helmet, walking forward with his arms kind of out, and behind him in a sea of kind of red. I would assume like it's either like, you know, a show of the Force energy or something like that, is the helmet of Vader, and then you have the face of Emperor Palpatine there. And if you look, which I think is really cool, the Vader mask has the eye socket broken like the helmet of Kylo. Overall,
yeah, okay, I got you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a really cool shot. Typically, we don't see a lot of traditional style paintings make the top 5, but that is what this is. It's a traditional painting, which is just absolutely beautiful work. He put this up on Star Wars Day, so about 2 weeks ago, and we picked it up recently. But it is a really cool representation of kind of the dark side of Ben Solo and where it came from. You have his grandfather, you know, Darth Vader.
You could also, Nick, I don't know if you saw it this way. It's almost like the voices that Palpatine was pumping into Ben's head, right?
Yeah.
Like it was Snoke, it was Vader, it was Palpatine himself. And they're like emanating from the, you know, this red flare coming off of him, and just really how that flare fleshes out some of Vader and Palpatine's below the neck. I don't know. I mean, it's just, we always sound really stupid talking about actual art because we have absolutely no clue. I mean, I guess we should have Sean Forney, who's in the room. He's an actual professional artist. Maybe give us some terms we can start using so we don't sound as stupid. So Sean, if you're listening, maybe just give us some artist terms we could throw out about pictures like this. But it's one of those deals, you know. I find a lot of these in Explore because clearly artists aren't tagging because they're not listening to the show. That's fine. I do still go out and scout a bit and then try to get people to use the tag there. But I don't know. I love this shit. I mean, traditional art to me, again, it's magic.
It's like, it's like magic.
You have a magic skill. Oh, now we're getting yelled at. Blanche. Okay, I didn't mean to say. It just sounds like an older name, not an old lady. How's that? It sounds like an older name, like older generation name, not something you would hear these days.
It was that's one of the characters on Golden Girls, right?
Well, yeah, I don't know if that's why everything's she's mad right now, but apparently there's a new hashtag trending in the room called not the right thing to say. Hey, tough shit. You never know what's going to come out of my mouth when you give me stuff to say. Yeah, wrong thing to tell her. That's the hashtag. But hey, we love it. She looks like a fantastic Blanche. Fantastic. She's a beautiful young lady. Tell her not to worry about it. It's a good name. So Sean's telling us to use the term atmospheric. There we go.
Atmospheric. It is a very atmospheric shot. Yes. That's a good one. And you know what I see too? Like I see this shot and I see the way that Kylo's standing with his arms out, almost being like held back by these forces. And then the next logical progression for me in this shot, like if it extended out a little bit further to the right, you would see like Ben Solo emerging from the Kylo armor. So like you see him like shedding.
Oh yeah, like he's just whipping all that shit off of him, and then Ben's face pops out, and then I got you. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, I mean, I thought that this was a really deep piece, really strongly evoking all the forces that are kind of pulling at Kylo.
Oh, here's something else we can start saying. It has an iconic layout.
It does have it. Yeah, that's a good one. Layout.
Thanks, Sean. Keep it coming, dude. This is great.
Layout's a good term that you can use for anything.
It's very atmospheric, and it has an iconic layout.
Yes. So, Noe Leva Art, if you listen to this, that is what we feel about this
Thank
painting.
You. That's from our resident pro artist in the chat. We appreciate you, Sean Forney Art. Check him out. He does some great stuff, Marvel, Star Wars. And I think we featured a cover he penned
I think we did
last week. Yeah, he does warm-up sketches on Facebook every morning too. So if you're into that stuff, watching these wizards and witches do their magic with these little drawing things, check him out.
Yep. All right. So next up for the top 5,
a good friend of the show here, a multiple time featured.
Yeah. Yes. A Sith load of Lego. A period Sith period load period of period Lego on Instagram. And Sith Load always does a good job of taking Lego figures and bringing them to life. I mean, we've seen a ton of great shots from him in the past, and this is just another one. We see a Death Trooper flanked by a bunch of Shore Troopers in the background. And really what he does here is like the weathering on the figures, the background that he put in with the explosion. Like it looks like these guys are coming right off the Scarif Beach.
Yeah.
And they're, getting ready to face up against what they think is a massive front of rebel soldiers. So,
anytime you can turn a Lego minifigure into something that looks badass, right? Like this Death Trooper leading this shot. I mean, it feels like he could come out of screen and take me out at that size. And that's to me is a fantastic Lego shot. Anytime you can make these little barely posable little things of plastic that are literally, the size of my penis. We're talking like an inch or less. And you make them look like little Tommy Tough guys, right? It looks fantastic. People like a Sith load of Lego Star Wars Tong, Lego Trooper 89, even 1/6 shooter. He just dropped a new Lego piece that's in the to share folder. It's not out yet. I see these and I go, man, I've spent in the past 3 months over $1,000 on Star Wars Legos with actual sets and Death Stars and this, that, and the other thing. I need to try this out. But then I just get intimidated because I look at stuff like this and like,
you got to message these guys, reach out to him. 03, I think his name is Ray or her name is Ray. You just got to be like, hey, what's a tip? Give me a tip to start off with Lego photography. And just let them guide you.
I know the tip. It's just fucking do it, you lazy ass. Like, I'll give myself the tip. I mean, Nick, if you could see how many awesome looking Star Wars minifigures I have with pre-built Lego dioramas. Like, I wouldn't have to fuck around. I have the Death Star with little rooms that look just like they did from the movie. I just don't do it. It's like, I got a rubber suit Luke last week. No one else bought him. If I actually took pictures and shared them, they'd probably do well because no one has bought him because he's rubber faced.
Yeah.
But I haven't taken pictures yet. It's just how it is. I mean, it's like these days, I just have to be feeling it to go shoot. And it's very, very rare now. So we'll see.
Yeah. Just haven't been feeling it.
But these, I mean, when I see stuff like this, it motivates me. Like, I want to be a Sith load of Lego. I want to be able to craft a shot like that with these Legos because I do think I could do it because you don't have to worry too much about posing, at least until, some of these guys, they break the arms off and use putty to give them a little more range. But I don't know if it's the cute factor, the fact that I have a bunch and I wish I could do it, but I love Lego Star Wars photography. Love it.
Oh, yeah. You got to get into it. Maybe that's the next iteration of Haywood Pop. We'll start seeing more Lego photos in there. But this shot from @Sith_Load_of_Lego. Excellent job. Just it's a hard one to read out for the audio crowd.
Yeah, we almost need an announcer to just do that shit for us.
I know, right? All right. So next up, last of the top 5 proper, and then we get into the top 1. This is a shot from Chris Rose Photo on Instagram, and it is a really cool perspective shot of Boba Fett looking at his captured quarry Han Solo in carbonite, and it's just an awesome shot. You get like an upward type of, he's like shooting from like an upward or a low angle.
Yep.
You get great lighting from the bottom here. You get it looks like rain coming down as well, and just the way that he has Fett positioned and the pose that he has looking at the face of Han Solo in carbonite is just really evocative.
Oh yeah, Fett's pose is basically like, I finally got you, bitch, like that.
Yeah.
Like a got you, bitch. Yeah. One of those things. Even though Vader technically did it for him, because we're talking about Bozo Fett right now, not Boba Fett. But no, I mean, Chris's shot's fantastic. It's very similar to what I was saying with the first shot we talked about. not much of a background. The background is essentially a combination of the effects of the water droplets and the light. And that's just stuff I love. It's stuff I need to start doing more, not worrying about the backgrounds. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the detailed dioramas, or when Papa goes outside to his mud ditch and creates some crazy ass trench warfare stuff, or when his brother uses the Nova Revol thing that sucks, even though everyone else can build it but me. But there is something to these shots where you're just really relying on the subject, the light, any sort of practical effect, atmosphere effect, be it aerosols, fogs, vapes, in this case, water, and really just the perspective of where you put that lens. And you can get some really artistic looking stuff, and that's what Chris Rose Photo has achieved right here.
Oh, yeah. So beautiful shot. Excellent top 5 altogether at Chris Rose Photo on Instagram. And that brings us to the Matt top 1 of the week. And I got to say, if you would not have picked this as your top 1, it was definitely going to be in the top 5.
Were you going to go with this one, or were you going to go with the first one I shared?
The first one, for sure.
Because this is like
is aces.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
This is what we're looking at right now. This is I'm assuming he's doing all this in Photoshop, because I know this isn't a real figure, and that's what makes it even more impressive. But it looks like again, we're talking about Paramore MCR 88 on Instagram. Fantastic portrait shooter, does a lot of 1/6 scale stuff. But recently he's been posting this Mythos Anakin project that he's been working on. Like I said, I believe all this is being done digitally. This figure doesn't exist unless someone has made this custom head. But the shot we're looking at now, I think this is the most recent version of this Mythos Anakin. And I mean, just look at him. I mean, there's a little George Lucas in there. There's a lot of Old Man Luke. Yeah, Old Man Luke. There's a lot of old Hayden in there. And it's just, I love this version of Anakin Skywalker. I wish I could have seen this version of Anakin Skywalker. This was the Anakin Skywalker that Emperor Palpatine stayed up at night and jerked himself off to. This is what he wanted, was this guy right here. Yeah, I mean, the fact, like, when I first saw this, I was like, holy fuck, like, and I was, because it looks like real hair. Yeah. Like it has to be done in Photoshop. And the fact that Paramore has been able to put this together in Photoshop just to make, like, Sideshow should take these pictures and make this fucking figure. Because, like you said, we got Mythos Kenobi, Mythos Fett. Well, okay, Mythos Anakin. Let's do it. Yeah, like, this is exactly what you said. This is the Anakin Skywalker that could have eventually defeated the Emperor in single combat. Oh, yeah. And become, the ruler of the galaxy. This could potentially be Emperor Skywalker, what we're looking at right now. Oh, yeah. Well, as Papa P said, if Anakin beat Kenobi, yes, that's exactly who we're looking at. Oh, yeah. And I mean, just like you said, it does such a perfect job of mixing all of these different people into one package. Because you can see, like, when I look at it, I see a lot of Old Man Luke. Here we go. I'm pulling up his page just so we can see some of his other examples. Yeah, I mean, just like the first one, the first one was the one that I was going to feature, because that one is a lot more Hayden. Like, you see a lot of Hayden. Yeah, it's like this isn't as old as the one we were just looking at, I mean, he kind of did a progression on his Mythos Anakin, where you get one that, the first one might have been, 10 years after, maybe? Yeah, or maybe like in his early 40s. Yeah, or maybe a New Hope age. And then the last one we saw would have been, he's approaching Kenobi on Tatooine age, old man. His 70s. Old man Anakin. But it's just, I mean, just thinking about who this character could have been, what would he have done? Would he have stayed Palpatine's bitch? Or, like he told Padme, would he have taken him out and ruled the galaxy as the Emperor himself? Would Yoda have been able to convince him otherwise? Would the birth of his kids been able to snap him out of it? It's an amazing shot, an amazing concept, and I'm so glad Paramore MCR did it, just so we could talk about it, because this is like a character you don't even think about, because we knew who Anakin was before the prequels even took place. We got to see how that all played out, but this is just a completely far out, if you will, take on the character. And I love it. I absolutely love it. I would buy this thing if it existed.
Yeah, I mean, I might buy this thing if it existed. Like, this is,
Papa P is saying Darkseid Ahsoka is right behind him, and the Emperor would have died the same day that Anakin beat Kenobi. So probably
I mean,
right.
if he was able to make that turn, if he was able to turn Ahsoka to the dark side, then I agree with that. Like, him and Ahsoka could have taken out the Emperor. I
love this version of Anakin. Even if he was just an evil piece of shit, I would want to have this guy over for Thanksgiving dinner or something.
Yeah, right? I agree.
Like, this is what I want. My grandfather's been dead for a long time, but this is what I want. I would have wanted my elderly relatives to look like. Yeah. Yellow hate Sith eyes. Battle damage scars, and just an angry cow, just the scowl of fucking kill you. So
so I mean, this was a perfect pick by you for the top one. I mean, it's one of the coolest concept pieces I've seen ever. Like, somebody like Paramore cooked this up in his head and then was able to execute on it perfectly. So
yeah, Paramore, if you do happen to listen after the fact, I know you're not in the stream, that's fine. We will ban you the next time you do that. But for now, you're not going to get the Star Wars Time Show ban hammer. We just want to know, like, what was the thought process behind this? What was the magic, the trickery? How'd we do it? All right, because it is fantastic. It's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. It's so cool that Papa P said he would buy a 1/6 scale figure, and we know he doesn't usually fuck with those. That's his brother. So it's fantastic. Job well done by everyone, but in particular, Paramore MCR88. Just a fantastic idea. The execution was top notch. You've got us over here wanting to play with our nipples, so thank you.
And that's it. That's all for the top 5+1 this week. So that brings us to the end of the Star Wars Time Show.
All right.
Under the 3-hour mark for the first time since the live streams have been going on.
About 2 hours and 14 minutes on top of about 5 minutes of a fuck off commercial time. So thanks to those that stuck around through the hiccup there. We learn something every week with my system and what's going to break it. It seems now if I play browser audio, it will knock out my system's core audio for some reason, even though I've been playing browser audio on YouTube videos every time we've done this. But for some reason, playing it directly from StarWars.com, it made the audio shit the bed. So live and learn. Thanks for tuning in the live stream. Those of you listening on the audio only, we appreciate you too, just not as much as those that essentially take time in the middle of their day to waste life and listen to us. All right? So you know what time it is. It's time to get that Star Wars Time dance going. Here we go. Dance it up. Get your happy asses over to StarWarsTime.net. You like that? It's a new little jingle. So when you're there, StarWarsTime.net, you can check out some of the content. Typically, the content is what we talk about on the show, but you can do a little homework. Maybe if you get here earlier in the week, you'll have an idea what we'll be talking about on the show, so you can come join the live stream and yell at us for not talking about stuff on the show. But more importantly, while you're here, you can tell people, hey, go to StarWarsTime.net. That's where you can find their content, but more importantly, that's where you can subscribe to the podcast platform of your choice. And we got them all. Just look at that list. Don't worry, there are more. Apple Podcasts not good enough? That's fine. We got Google. That's not good enough? We got Spotify. We got TuneIn. We got Android. It doesn't matter. There really is no fucking excuse anymore. Get on there, follow it, like, rate, and review, rinse and repeat, pass it off to your next Star Wars buddy. Oh, and while you're here, also, give us a little YouTube love, too. And as I said earlier in the show, if you do have a Twitter account, not that you're going to get any special content on Twitter, but just to make us feel like not big losers, give us a follow over there as well. You never know, maybe Kathleen Kennedy will give us a call to interview the next casted member of The Mandalorian. But we need bigger numbers. And that's where the Star Wars Time Show army comes in. The army of assholes. We love you. Keep it up. Keep spreading the word, right? Spread that Star Wars Time 19. There's always time for Star Wars time. And remember, and yes, I'm looking at you. Remember, if you listen to the Star Wars Time Show podcast, the Force will be with you. Always.
All right.